Yeah, it's a Friday night flicking, you know it's going down. Get your friends and your knives and let's have a good time. Got that blade click clacking and I'm ready to go. Gotta check the homie groove on to see what knives he's got.
I can't believe it's Friday and we made it. Get the weekend started, let's go live on YouTube. It's Friday, I can't believe we made it. It's Friday.
Can't believe it's Friday and we made it. Get the weekend started. Let's go live on YouTube. Ooh. It's a Friday night flick and you know it's going down. Get your friends and your knives and let's have a good time. Got that blade click clacking and I'm ready to go. Gotta check the homie Juve on to see what knives he's got. Ooh. Gotta check the homie Juve on to see what knives he's got.
Oh, I can't believe it's Friday and we made it. Get the weekend started, let's go live on YouTube. It's Friday, I can't believe we made it. It's Friday. Friday night fix is ready, here we go. Watch me scramble to complete a 3-hour show. We'll talk about knives and what's on your mind. Never know what will come up this time. We vibe and we chill, including spirited debate. But we do it with love and never with hate. We'll talk about knives and what's on your mind. Never know what will come up this time. We vibe and we chill, including spirited debate. But we do it with love and never with hate. We vibe and we chill, including spirited debate. But we do it with love and never with hate. Lights go dark, the stream comes on. Javon's here, the vibe is strong. Click and clack, the steel in sight. Every edge sharpened, Friday night. Knife flicks dance under the light. Blades that shine and cut so tight. Handles spin and edges glide. Friday night flicks worldwide. The craft with steady flow. Steel and story you'll wanna know. Flick of the wrist, how smooth it goes. Every frame a master show. Knife flicks dance under the light. Blades that shine and cut so tight. Handles spin and edges glide. Friday night flicks worldwide. Karambit steel. Every flick has that cool appeal. The chat goes wild when he reveals a masterpiece you wish was real. View
Got the Scully in the house, it get cold in here. Open up the pack, crack open the beer. No fear, no tears, got the old 10 gears. Knew you been around, ain't been home in years. Had a hard day's work, it was easy for me. Javon, the beat hit easy to me. We talk about knives, it was EDC. It's the first 1, 2, 3. I don't know if you all been told it could get weird. So are you high on cigarettes? gentlemen, Javon's Night Flicks, baby. Friday Night Flicks, baby. The first ever episode, we are getting it cracking like we say. Shout out to my co-host.
Went out, just a little bit, but are you high on cigarettes? And when that stuff runs out, you're gonna wanna make it. Are you high on cigarettes?
Let's watch Javon's witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's witness and get high on cigarettes. Do you know that you're right or wrong? 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 He don't smoke 'em, but he loves it when you do. That's why he's high on cigarettes. And if you find him, you should light him up a few. He's getting high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's witness and get high on cigarettes. Do you know that you're right or wrong? Do you know that you're right or wrong? Do you know that you're right or wrong? Do you know that you're right or wrong?
What is up, guys? I hope y'all can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Check, check, check. A little bit out of breath. Hope you can hear me. Hope you can see me. Hope everything is copacetic. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to Javon's Night Flicks, where we get after it. We talk about all things knives. We talk about all things lives. Ooh. I got to check something real quick. Bear with me, guys. Make sure I sent my links. Give me 2 seconds. Talk amongst yourselves. I had to run up to Dad's. I got a situation just a brewing. I did. Cool. All right. We are rocking like a hurricane. Rocking like a hurricane. Neil's trying to come in, but his device is not yet connected. Just the easiest thing to do is to jump out and try to jump back in, my brother. Marco's in the house. What is up, Marco? Ground fog. What is happening? We got Angelo, channel member. What is up, brother? We got Mr. Neil McKenzie. He's going to be joining us here in just a second. Channel member. Who else we got in the house? B. Shady is here. The man, the myth, the legend. What's up, brother Shady? And then we got Richard Hopkins, the Roman gnome. My brother from another mother. What's up, Richard? I got something cool to show you. A lot of you would probably like to see this. It's very cool. Who else we got here? I think that's it, guys. We're starting a little early. We got Joe Isabella, my spiritual Sherpa, and brother from another mother. We've got Cat Scratch Knives in the house. What is up? Starting a 2-week vacation. That is awesome. That I should have something celebratory. Let's see. I do have something celebratory. Here you go. Give a little love there. That was probably too loud. I don't think I ever worked the volume on that one. Let's bring Neil up real quick.
No, don't.
What's up, buddy? How are you, my friend? Can you hear me?
Living.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. It is, Richard. That's what I was going to show you guys. I got this in yesterday to check out. I got a really big knife from this company when they first started. It was called it's Olive Knives Arbor. It's a big bushcrafting knife. Well, they brought their manufacturing in the States. This is a USA made knife, and it comes in this little pocket dropper sheath with this centrally, which, Richard, I don't know how you'd feel about that. It does have loops where you could definitely loop it up. But this little guy is a small fixed blade knife in L-Max. It's done very, very well. G10 handles. It's got, I don't know if you'd call that a Fibonacci grind, but it's definitely got a unique grind. You can see those horizontal lines. I have not really gotten into hardcore cardboard cutting with this, but I've got several boxes I'm going to take apart with it. But it's a very nice knife. Is it going to live up to what they're charging for it? I do not know. I mean, everything about it is clean, super clean, but it's an expensive knife. It's right around $380, I think, in L-Max. For a fixed blade, that's quite a bit. But we'll see what it does. So, Neil, what have you been up to, my friend? Working this week, or do you work on the weekends, or do you just do like I do and get business when you can?
Work and sleep. That's about it.
Man, I'm doing some part-time work besides the channel right now down at Knives and More, which is a good place to do a part-time gig. I work 4 hours, 4 days a week down there, from 2 to 6. And it's a great social experiment into what people are doing in terms of in a city like Huntsville, which is very transient in that we have a lot of military contracts, a lot of engineers, there are very few Huntsville natives, and it's a very affluent part of Alabama. So it's the only real knife store. We do have some kitchen knives, but mostly case knives, and then your Spyderco, ProTech, Microtech, and Benchmade. And they trade for all the nice stuff, the Koenigs, the McNeese, Hinderers, you name it. They've got stuff like that up there. So they bring in a pretty unique crowd looking for anything from, I guess you can get a knife in there for right around a few that are $60. Most of them are going to be $100 or more. But they go up to some of the case knives. I think our most expensive case knives like $2,200, and it's a single knife, not a plaque with several of them. And then I think I've got a couple of $1,500 to $1,800 modern knives. And people that come in and buy them are collectors in their own right. Not all of them. I would say 10% of them are on YouTube watching content. Very, very few. I think I've had 2 people that knew about super steel, that knew anything about the different steels that Spyderco offers. These are engineers, people. Different steels that Benchmade offers, because Benchmade now, we're a premium plus dealer, so we have probably 8 bug outs that are all current, that are all different price points, but they're different blade and handle configurations. And these people are Benchmade purists, they want to buy and they love Benchmade. They're brand advocates, but they don't know why they cost different. The money's any different. They don't. It's just, to me, it's bizarre how little they know. But then it makes me think, or is it bizarre how much we all try to know here, where it really probably in all reality doesn't matter for what the engineers that are going camping, that are doing this and that, are buying. A lot of tool steel comes out of that on the store, and they sell a shitload of knives. They do not have a website, so they sell a lot of knives through the mail. They do it all via a phone call. We did several today where somebody will call in, check that something's available, and then that's true, Mimo. I'm guessing, because I don't do, like, as you guys know, I'm an alcoholic, AA all the way, but I don't yank people off bar stools or try to save people, just like I don't try to educate these uneducated. When they ask why the Benchmades are different prices or the Spydercos are different, why we have two PM2s, one that's Tiffany blue and one, I forget the other color, but I will educate them. Thanks, Richard. Yeah, and that is USA made, that olive knife, and it is it's a very, very nice knife. I just don't know what to compare it to in terms of in the market, something like it. I got something else in that I've not yet unboxed. I'm going to unbox it after the live, and I'll show you what it is. Pull it up. Bear with me. 2 seconds. Neil, feel free to jump in, say anything you want to, buddy. You're here to kick it with us as long as you want.
I just started my 19th year.
You're breaking up a little bit. Say that again, buddy. I was losing you, just getting every other word.
That's this old laptop I'm using.
I got you. I got all those words. So this came in, which is more on the budget side. What's that, buddy?
I just started my 19th year of sobriety.
Congratulations, man. 19. I'm in May, it will be 12. Very, very early in my sobriety, but it's one day at a time. Isn't that the truth? What's the newest folder in Neil's world? Says Mimo.
Best Tech Lager.
Nice. That looks full size. Yeah. Ooh, I like that. Very nice. Aluminum handles or those
Almost.
G10? My latest is this dragonfly. G10 from Spyderco. And I've got a video coming out at 9 tonight where I put these Flytanium scales on it. The last time I attempted the Flytanium scale swap, it defeated me. After 45 minutes, I turned the phone off and it just wasn't a video. I took it down to my buddy at Knives and More. He showed me what I did wrong and showed me how to build this, and I built it successfully. Night before last, I think the scales came in, but this is the first knife I bought before I started watching YouTube videos. I bought this early COVID, and this is a dragonfly that had green FRN handles up until about 2 months ago. I loved it because it was under $100. It was like $80 when I bought it. It fit my hand fine. At the time, I had a Kershaw Chive, which is smaller than this. And then the second knife, oddly enough, I bought, because this is all from a local knife store in Huntsville that's no longer in Huntsville. was a paramilitary too that I still have. But I can't say enough nice things about the dragonfly because I'll be honest, when it had FRN scales, I didn't carry it that much. It's a 5th pocket knife, I guess, by design, but I can carry this as a primary knife, and it's all the knife I need because, again, I'm opening occasional packages. I'm cutting open cat food. This one that I picked up through Knives and More is the Warncliffe K390. It had blue FRN handles, and I knew when I got them to order this for me that I was going to put scales on it because it makes the knife so much, in my opinion, more comfortable in the hand. It adds a little weight, but it's still a very light knife because it's small. But even for a larger hand, it's very ergonomic. Have you ever handled a dragonfly, Neil?
No.
It's it's a little bit smaller than the little native, but it's smaller, Mimo, than the I say that I've never handled a chaparral, and I said that wrong. But I know it is larger than the little native, if I'm not mistaken. And I traded a little native to Shane because I think the little native's even a little bit bigger than the dragonfly. I think then it goes down to a man bug because there are only a few knives that are smaller than the dragonfly, and they don't have clips. One of them is called a Jester. We had one of those, an M4. The Ladybug, Man Bug, a couple of other little small guys. But this, the fit and finish on this knife is extremely impressive. But then when I know that this is probably done by CNC, I don't know that for sure. I know that the bolts have USA printed all over them. What's up, Henry? And the literature that I read, which I haven't read much of the literature yet, says it's USA made. I carried it today for the first time, but again, I haven't broken down any cardboard, and that's usually the best test for me, is to run through just a lot of cardboard and then see how it goes back to paper. I never get my knives as sharp as Scabs does. I don't know if
you
you
recognize this one.
I do. Is that the Kizer? Is that the Kizer? By I forget what it's called, but you won that. What's it called? That's a nice knife. Is that a I can't remember the name of it. I had a case full of those things. Do you like it?
It's a Ison Theta.
That's it.
Yeah, I got it from you a couple
I knew
years
you
ago.
did. Yes, I had a whole bunch of those guys. I let all of them go because I was just I promised myself, and I've gone back on it, that I wouldn't buy any more cases. That I'd cap myself at cases because I had a knife problem. I mean, when I was working, I had a good job. I was blessed, but I busted my ass. But I bought a lot of knives. I kind of would reward myself with knives because I also, Neil, before I kicked alcohol, which was a year and a half later, I kicked a major pill habit. And I jokingly, but it's mathematically correct, I was eating a Hinderer every day and a half.
I'm glad I never got into that.
I'm so glad and don't wish that upon anybody. It's something that kind of crept up on me because I'd always been on the wild side and never thought that something that started out as stitches that I got would turn into something that was in control of me that I couldn't really do without feeling really sick. That's kind of a poo-poo pussy way to say it because getting sick was the only way to get through it. And I'm glad it was as shitty as it was because I wouldn't want to go through it again. Kathleen, what is up? Nice to see you, young lady.
I lived in a bottle. I lived in a bottle for 25 years and almost died twice. And I'm
But
glad that's
look
over.
at what you got in terms of the sobriety that you've strung together. I did not realize how bad my drinking was, and that it was kind of the catalyst for all the other crazy things I would do, until I got off the harder stuff. Because I really fell hard into the crown. At the time, I was drinking high gravity beer, which is like only 8% beer. Everybody's got a different bottom. Mine was not. I was lucky to continue to function through mine, but I was suggested from a marriage counselor that I go to a meeting, and I happened to go to the absolute best place, my home group. And it was just all the things lined up for me to where I did not plan. There's still 3 ceremonial wicked or angry archer. I forget, angry orchard. They're like ales that I had because I was staying with my mom at the time. I was going through a divorce. They're still in her refrigerator. I went to my first meeting on a Wednesday night and thought, okay, I'm just going to not go home and drink. And then I did it literally one day at a time, and God wanted to. Didn't have a sponsor for the longest time, for probably a year in. But I'm happy to hear that people find their sobriety, and I say that cautiously because I don't think there's anything wrong with people who can drink normally, that can do drugs recreationally. I think that's great. There's nothing wrong with the substance. It was all a me problem. I just can't interact with it, I've learned. But yeah, I carried today my PM2. I'm trying to carry stuff that I haven't carried in a long time. I got this from Justin, OCD for EDC. He and I traded out a couple of knives. And then I put these rock scale design scales on
Just
this.
hello to everyone.
Hello, hello. Mimo, I'm always cautious to say that because, and Richard
She
will
misses
tell you,
everyone, wants to get back to YouTube, but can't do it right now.
I never want people to think when I talk about sobriety that I'm ever casting any negativity towards the lack of sobriety. Because again, I think to be able to go out and drink and enjoy the night and have a good time and not have it ruin your life is a blessing. Sweet. A stretch 2 in K390 and a 79K stag trapper. I'll tell you, Mimo, one of the things I've been working on and learning, Hero Sticks, good evening, is my patterns, my case patterns. And I'm starting to actually get a place in my heart and collection for cases. And the trapper, full-size trapper, is my favorite pattern. And I'm going to show you one that's extra special. But I've so far, since I've been at Knives and More, which is almost 3 months, have picked up 2 cases. And there's another one, a single blade Barlow that we just got in. So every slip joint I own, with the exception of this one, is a single blade slip joint. And that's just kind of how I vibe. But the trapper is unique in that I was gifted this trapper. It is a forever knife. It's in the red micarta pilot test run. and it belonged to our brother, Jason Brown. He carried this knife, full-size trapper. So right now, we have got a black curly maple, which is one of my favorite colors, handle materials. And my other favorite color handle material is the blue sycamore. And we've got large trappers down there. I get paid once a month at Knives and More at the end of the month. And I don't get paid a lot because I work hourly part-time, but I try to always buy a knife. So my struggle this time is, do I get one of the two trappers, which is the 2-blade knife? Again, this is my only 2-blade knife. Or there's going to be this year, they're releasing two different handle materials, but only 2 single-blade Barlows. Most Barlows have 2 blades from Case. We've got one in stock now that's a single blade, and I really like a single blade Barlow. This little Boker I have right here is a single blade Barlow. It's very patinaed, but it's smaller than the Case. The Case is a little stubbier, but I'm starting to really, Lord Needham, what is up, brother? I'm really starting to see what's the word I'm looking for? The allure of Case knives. For one, we've got a cabinet down there that are just vintage Case knives. And vintage doesn't have to be that old. I think 40 years and back from there. But we've got some Case knives from the 1920s, from the 30s. Bottom line is we've got some very expensive Case knives down there. Our most expensive is a little white pearl handled knife. It's got 2 blades. It looks like a penknife. It's in a little box, and it's got a little piece of newspaper like print that comes with it, and it's $2,200. And to me, it doesn't look like anything. And most of them are in the $300 to $500 range. But there are a lot of Case knives that look just like that trapper I just showed you, or like this slimline. That's kind of a rare one. That's a slimline Warncliffe. But they're nice knives. And I always gave them a hard time because I ordered 3 Sidebuster Juniors over time from Amazon. And they all came not that impressive because at the time I had a couple of Jack Wolfs, had some Rough Rider Reserves. The Sidebuster Junior just really isn't my jam in the design. But what I learned is at Knives and More, the owner, John, when these come in, he'll order maybe 8 of each that he orders. What's up, Henry? And he'll cull them. So he'll go through and open each one of them, make sure the blade's not rubbing, make sure most of them are multi-blades, that they're straight, and he'll send them back if they're not. And he's been a Case dealer for now over 23 years, and they know that about him, so they kind of QC his batches pretty closely too, which just turns out that we get some really good knives. The Delrin Mimo, those are the ones I had. The Delrin are the only Sidebusters because those were the $35 ones I could buy on Amazon. And they just did not live up to it. Now we've got some bone and some stag Sidebusters that are centered. They've got, they're nicer materials. They're levels to Case knives like there are to anything. And new ones cost about as much as a GEC. No, because no GECs are under 100, and there's several cases that are under 100. Yeah, Mimo, I love a single blade Barlow, and I've seen even some of these antiques. I think, hey, Toyota and Tools, I think having a knife that slightly rubs when you hear some of these old timers talk about it, gives it character. I mean, if they're just collecting it, which a lot of them do, a lot of them will come in and buy a case every year or every month, put it in the box, put it in their safe, and they say it jokingly, but they're serious. It's their retirement. Not the smartest way to do a retirement, but cases will not go down in value. Now, if we have some crazy meteorite or something hit us, it could all change. But right now, cases don't go down in value. They don't go up maybe as fast as other things do. They're much better investments. But if you like knives, cases like, I don't know what modern knives, folding knives do that. I guess Lamia's. See, Spyderco's, most everything that I deal in will go down in value. Not bad, but some of these slip joints are, I guess that's why they call them heirlooms. What are you flicking, Neil? I heard something clicking over there.
Rigid jersey prototype.
A what jersey? Let me make you big for 1 second so I can see that knife. Oh.
Rigid jersey prototype.
Rigid jersey. Is that the OEM?
Nick Rigi.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Nick Rigi out of New Jersey.
Gotcha.
This is a prototype of his first production run.
Who's the OEM? Do you know? Curious. It's a beautiful knife. It's a great design.
The box just has his brand on it.
Very nice. I'm glad you shared that, Bluminati, because I have been talking to Derek this afternoon, and that's one of the things I was going to talk about tonight is the auction that's going on tomorrow night, and we'll look at this channel, the one that Bluminati just shared for Blade Walker. So that's where everybody's going to be tomorrow night. That's where it's happening. And see, I hate this. Let me share this. It's asking me to renew my premium, and I can't right now. I'm broke. I don't have a job. But YouTube Premium is the way to go. But EDC with DBD is the channel. I wasn't even subscribed. I'm not even familiar with this channel. But live in 21 hours. So that means, what time's that? Like 7 o'clock maybe? Something like that. That's tomorrow night. And I don't know if y'all know our buddy Blade Walker. Super, super nice guy. Has a channel. Hadn't been able to post a lot lately. Dealing with a lot of health issues. And a lot of people, Derek and a lot of other people talk with him all the time. And he just needs some uplifting from the community. And I think this is a great cause. And hopefully a lot of people will be able to come out. I think there are going to be some really cool things available. It says, the Guardians of the Blade Sexy are assembling for a very special live stream. Blade Aid Live. Our brother Blade Walker Steve needs help covering the cost of his life-saving anti-rejection medications after a transplant, which are no longer being covered by his insurance. When someone in the ED community needs backup, the Guardians answer the call. Tonight, we're checking out over a dozen awesome EDC knives that viewers can bid on, plus 2 special blades being auctioned live, all to help make sure Steve gets the medication he needs. We've done that several times. We did it when Jason passed for Sarah and Nora. And it's just good opportunity to get some cool stuff. And if you find a knife that you want or get something cool that you bid on, it's going to a good cause. Have you guys ever seen the Kizer microbe? This is a very unique knife. And this is a knife that I'm very enamored with. They make it with either a thumb stud or a blade hole. It looks very funky. If you remember the Tough Light from Cold Steel, or the little knife that Shane's making, the little fixed blade, this knife, when you put it in your hand, this hump hits right in the palm of your hand, and then it's got a choil, and your other fingers fall right in here. So it just is a natural fit for cutting carpet, cutting cardboard, ripping into stuff. It's a short blade, so I wouldn't want to do a lot of long-term cutting or a lot of feet cutting of cardboard, but something smaller. To me, it's just a brilliant little design knife. If you look at it size-wise, it's about the size of a dragonfly. I mean, there's some great options for fifth pocket carry knives out there right now. And this little microbe kind of breaks the mold because it doesn't look like anything that I'm used to seeing. And it uses Kizer's top liner lock. That's their button activated liner lock. Very cool budget package that if you're looking for a little knife, everybody's reviewed it. I saw that Tri-State did a review on it. I think Jared did a review on it. I'm getting ready to do my second feature of it, comparing this and the thumb stud one and comparing it to some other small knives because it is that unique. I mean, I wouldn't say it could compete for best budget knife because there's so many regular size options, but definitely top small knife that I've seen in several years, not just this year. It's just a cool little carry. I mean, it fits your hand so many different ways. It's odd. And I forget the guy that designed it. I forget the guy who designed it. So, looking at buying a GEC Stingray Fixie. Is that the clip point twid and tools? Let me pull it up. GEC. Stingray. I'm just Googling.
I've got a Kizer Medric coming in tomorrow.
Congratulations. You got a new knife day tomorrow. Nice. I kind of got bummed out because I was going to, I thought I was going to be trading earlier this week for one of two knives. I wasn't sure which knife. And then the store did not need the knives that I had. Where'd it go? This is where Google pulled me when I put that in. And it just took me to a thing, right? This is it. Oh, that's good looking. Does that look like the one you're bidding on or trying to get twid and tools? Is that what a current Stingray looks like? I remember Pocket Metal had a couple of GEC fixies. I like the sheath on that one too. That one's actually a pocket dropper. 1095 tool steel, 7 inches long. I like my Great Eastern cutleries. I've got a few of them, and I am I'm a fan in the quality. So I picked up, and I haven't done the unboxing yet. Let me find it, and then I'll share it real quick. And I wanted to, it's not on their website yet. How weird is that? All right. Bear with me. This unboxing could be very unique. Holtzman Gorilla Survival Knives, especially the Bloodline neck knife. Holtzman Gorilla Knives. I know I've gotten some of them from Amazon, right? Are those Amazon knives? Let me pull it up. Bear with me, Henry. Gorilla. There we go. I recognize the logo. Neil, your camera went away. I've definitely heard of them. Are they, did you find them on Amazon? Yes. Gotcha. The Bloodline. Let's find the Bloodline. Usually a neck knife you're going to be in good shape. If I'm not mistaken, these are on the lower price point. So I thought always gave them a good grade because under $100, $10.95 comes with a fire starter, which you don't really need, but that's cool. I'm trying to think which one I've tried. Yeah, I mean, I think when you're looking at something like that, I can definitely feel more comfortable saying yay on that than the jury's still out on this more expensive one that I've got. I'm trying to think which one. That's right, buddy. Maybe I haven't experienced one of these because I don't see anything that's. I mean, it looks like a good knife. $10.95. The sheath looks really good. Baby Bloodline. Let me know how it is. Yeah, would you call that a Scandi or would you just call is that Compadre? That's a great knife, B Shady. That's something I haven't done in a long time. 1931 Leatherworks. Got a TKL Warren EDC and a TJ Swartz Overlander Sport coming to me next week. You should be very stoked. Is the Overlander, is that their new folder or is that the Fixie? I reviewed the Fixie because there was one at Knives and More when I first started there. And the TKL Warren EDC I bought at Blade Show last year. That's one of my favorite little knives. I picked up the aluminum long handle that gives you a full four finger grip. And I've also got a ring handle for that knife. Melissa Backwoods and TKL did a great collaboration on that little knife. Bugsy Craftworks, what is up? What is up? What is up? We talked about that today. I talked about that with
Bugsy, how's the weather back home?
I am fine with D2 personally. If it's coated and I know it's D2, I've not had a bad experience. And everybody talks about imported D2. I've never had a bad experience with D2 personally. Now I know Kevin has. Lefty, I know he's had several rust issues. Mid saber grind. That's what it looked like. it's the most, it's a negative, I guess you'd call it a negative blade geometry. It feels great in the hand. And for like cutting stuff, especially if you're over it, the ergonomics are next level good. You're going to love that. So guys, I've got a big sale going on. It hadn't even been really publicized. We're dealing with wind and it's going to get cold again Monday, but I don't think we're going to get any kind of precipitation outside of rain in North Alabama. But it looked warm today. I walked out without a jacket and it was windy. But do you guys remember Finch knives? These were kind of like the traditional looking knives that were locking knives, kind of came out before Jack Wolf's. I always thought they were cool because one of the partners was a knife or a watchmaker before he was a knife maker. So all the crests glow in the dark. But they're, Bugsy, I'm going to send you a link to, and I do want you to jump in. But these are little traditional patterns that are locking knives. This is a GEC. This is the only one I haven't found the box for. This is a GEC exclusive, not a GEC, a DLT exclusive. This is the Lucky 13. They're 150, what is it? 153 CM, 154. Yeah, 154 CM. Yeah, why'd I go brain dead on that? 154 CM. Really nice knives. They were about $1.25 when I bought them, and I'm going to let them go individually, and I'll show you the ones I've got with boxes for $75 shipped anywhere in the continental U.S. The only place I've posted it is on Instagram. I did one Instagram post. I'll show you a quick picture of all of them. But I'm going to probably do a video. I think that'd probably be an easy way to do it. Maybe release it to members first and like let it go members, be a members video for a day or two, and then have it go public. Because it is, man, I tell you what, if I start getting the slow share of death like I'm getting right now, I'm probably going to get kicked out of my own freaking live. I swear. All right. Y'all bear with me. I got to send something to Bugsy. My shrimp brother. I call him the octopus whisperer. Cancel. Ooh, what is that? Is that a William Henry? What is that?
No, this is an Andy Isaacs custom.
That is gorgeous. Andy, there's so much I just do not know about. Bugsy.
Gold inlay, all hand tooled.
That is
one
gorgeous.
of my 2 knife rights wins from last year.
That is gorgeous. There's Bugsy Craft Works.
It's $1,500 gorgeous.
Oh, but it's gorgeous, man. I mean, and it's going to continue to probably go up in value, right? I mean, if you don't do anything crazy.
I hope so. Desert ironwood. And I've forgotten what steel it is, but it is premium.
And you know what's funny is, are those
all handmade, all U.S. made?
It's gorgeous, man. It's gorgeous. But
this is my other knife right. This is my other knife rights win from last year.
Is that a fixed blade?
Yep.
Dude,
sharp end on 3 sides.
Oh God! So it's got the bottom two and the top is all sharp, and that's a
Premium
stab.
Damascus and Arizona. Premium.
And you said you
Premium
wanted
Damascus
knife right?
and Arizona jade. On knife rights, yes.
That is beautiful. What's the handle? I can see the pins. Is it just like an acrylic?
Arizona. It's a hand-done mosaic.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Holy
And the
smokes!
scales are Arizona jade.
That's natural stone. That Arizona jade.
It's called reconstituted. I don't know what the process is.
Okay, so what they probably do is they probably take it and they machine it into a solid, like a scale material, right? I would think, because it looked to me like. So, guys, I'll show you the post, but I've got a bunch, 7 of these finches that are up for grabs before they go to Blade Binge. I'm going to offer them up to you guys, and I'm going to do a video before I put them on Blade Binge too. I know that they are bringing premiums. I'm not asking premiums, so you can flip them if you want to. I don't think you can buy a Finch for under 145 now. Bugsy, how are you? Terry says your dial-up's lagging, Neil.
Sorry, Javon. So I take my jacket off. I'm doing pretty good, man.
Yeah, it's my signal here in Tucson and a 6-year-old laptop.
Hey, I'll get kicked out of this stream. I've got good internet, a new laptop, but I should have gotten a better processor. I say new, it's about a year and a half too old, but I've been like having issues lately. Like if I go to share Instagram, it jacks up my. All right, it's gonna let me see if it'll let me share it. This is what I wanted to share with you guys. This is the only post I've done. Those are the finches that are up for grabs. That's a Tacuna Doc Holiday, 1929, Harvester, a Roadrunner, a Lucky 13, and a Runtley. They are cool knives. I just don't carry them. I don't have room for them. Those are the ones I was going to trade for. I've got a review coming up. I've fallen in love with a knife I did not expect to fall in love with, and it is the MSI Mini from Microtech. Oh, that's an Italian switchy. Very nice. I can't believe except the price point. I totally get it. Hero Sticks, 125%. Yes, it is worth the price tag. It is the coolest and my favorite fixed blade knife that for sure in 2026. I put mine ahead of it because I designed it, but this is Crewware. It's got an extremely ergonomical handle. This one was designed by, I forget if his name's Alan Smith. His last name's Smith. He's their CNC head guy or their shop manager. This knife and the Sparrow 7 are made in that one building. He doesn't sub out any of these parts. He does it all right there. And this Crewware is awesome. The knife is awesome. The service i.e., warranty, customer service from Casey and Lynch, is definitely worth it. You're supporting a small USA company. I say absolutely. I think it's a best in class small fixed blade. The sheath is awesome. When you go to checkout, you can choose a pocket dropper or you can choose a belt, depending on how you want to carry it. I love it. There is a Finch Rutley in there. It is a black Rutley. It was my first Finch knife. Is that a Protec Hogue or is that a Boker? Finch made?
It's the original Gerber 06.
Ah, back when Gerbers were great. You will not be
got this from Iona.
disappointed unless you don't like small knives. It's a little over 6 inches. What'd you say, Neil? I'm sorry.
I got this from Iona.
How is he? I have not seen him. 6 1/4. How is he owning? Is he hanging in there?
As far as I know, he's doing all right.
Do y'all stay in contact,
Yeah,
or do you see him?
As far as I know. No.
Yeah, the holiday, my buddy A to Z got.
I told him I'd be on here. Occasionally, I'm.
Be Shady, I like Jacob's millet chickadees. You know, I've got 3. I know you're a Jacob Creates. You got me. I'm envious of you, Jelly. But the 3 chickadees I have, you know, Jacob made his shed basically, like I'm sure several that you have and some of your early Hail Marys. But I think the millet ones look great. And I don't have any height or any hate for people that partner out. I'm telling you guys, the mini MSI, the MSI was my least favorite round lock knife.
My New Jersey brother, how you?
That's gorgeous.
That's good.
But the mini MSI is about the size of a Benchmade bug out in length. Buggsy's a bad influence. No, he's not. You should scope out the GEC 98 traditional pocket knives.
I can definitely be that, though.
Lakeside, what's up?
Now you like that pairing.
Dude, that's sick. What is that?
Pairing PPT.
You've always got the exotics.
Yeah, I like, it's got a little bit of blade protection, like here. I don't like when there's nothing to protect your finger from going right onto the blade.
Yeah, where you don't have anything to keep it from sliding up accidentally.
Yeah, because when you're doing something serious, your hands kind of become like they're not as dexterous. You have like it's almost like you have less fingers. Like you just do stupid stuff.
Right, right.
When you got a little bit of extra space there when you're reaching and moving, I'm not so worried about slipping up onto that super crazy edge.
And you're probably so conditioned now it's not even an issue.
Yeah, it's definitely all these different knives are training issues. There's each one has its own little funk
Quirks.
that's going to give you that that thing you're going to want to train about it. This has got more lives on it than anything in my inventory. All the hunting and fishing and everything. This is my dive knife.
So would you use that as a defensive take a life fish knife, or would you aggressively use that instead of your spear?
Well, so anytime you're spearing anything large, you have to make sure you get to it quick because it can pull you down pretty fast. So I would use what's called a pole spear. It wasn't like a gun spear,
Right.
and it's more primitive.
Kind of like you're jabbing.
Well, if you look it up, actually, it's hard to describe, but there's surgical tubing that attaches to the bottom of the fiberglass rod, and you put that on your thumb here, and you pull the rod all the way back, and you grab the top. So when you're swimming, you're just kind of pointing your hand at something, and then you let go, and it gives you like a 4 or 5 foot reach.
Does it look like this trident, but not a trident?
I had a trident tip.
But does that look like it? Is that what you're talking about with the little?
Yeah,
is that a
that's
pull?
that's exactly it.
Okay,
mine
cool.
was like about 6.5 feet long, so that one's a little shorter.
Yeah, they had a whole bunch under the images. Let's see if it'll.
Yeah.
Whoop.
But this is a titanium knife.
So underwater all day long. It's a poke, but it's designed to poke through stuff, not to slice stuff, right?
Yeah, this is like you kind of you get the fish with the first spear, and if it's good, you pull the fish closer to you, and you aim for like the brain stem.
So yeah, because if it's a big grouper, like you said, it can take you straight to the bottom because you're shooting for the biggest fish, right?
Not see, you gotta watch. You gotta look at like the health of the fish, because it depends what they're eating off of. Sometimes there's shipwrecks nearby, and you'll be able to tell that the fish is kind of eating off of the shipwreck, and the fish that eat off the shipwreck, and they're really like rusty colored.
So they're not going to be as good.
No, they're actually kind of poisonous. You'll see people that live on the islands that have like patches of hair missing because that they got poisoned at some point.
From
And
the lead paint or whatever they were eating.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff because they just don't clean it up. There's even off the coast of the one side of the island, there's just a giant ship that just sits there. Nobody wants it, and nobody is willing to claim it or willing to pay to tow it out and chop it up.
Damn, it seems like somebody would be on the hook for that. Or is it international waters where it's kind of...
No, it's pretty close. Like I swam out to it a few times.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the wildlife would be able to find the shit out of somebody unless pirates or something left it and they don't have an owner they can trace it to find.
I think it's an Indian ship that was left there from... There's an island nearby called Statia that all they do... So the whole point of the island is to switch from single hull oil ships to double hull, because America only allows double hull ships into our ports. So they take the single hull ships there and then they offload and then reload to a double hull to ship it into the U.S.
So you get some beaters there that probably might make their last leg to that double hull.
Yeah, and then I guess somebody along the lines left it, or maybe the captain just, got on shore and skedaddled. You can disappear.
Shady, the Marathon Select is the one I reviewed first, and I was kind of questioning the price, not because I don't believe it's worth. The one we have at Knives and More is $533, but we've also got, now we have two of them. We have the Microtech version, which is $308. So almost, you could buy almost two Microtechs for the Marfione. The Marfione, that double vapor blasted hardware is gorgeous. The titanium is gorgeous. The backspacer is gorgeous. But when you look at the aluminum, which I reviewed last night, I brought a black one home that has a black two-tone blade. I'm not crazy about the blade, but it operates every bit. It's got the frag instead of the really nice milling, but it's a $300 mini MSI, which is more my speed. The quiet carry C, the quiet carry drift is my number one quiet carry knife. Between that and the 9, is that the Marfione? You got a good deal then. That's $30 less than we sell it for, and we mark the stuff down there.
I'm gonna try backing out when you come back.
All right, buddy. That link will work. Just when you jump out, just you can come back in and it might give you perfect connection. I'll get kicked out of here before the end of the night and have to come back in. Neil, is yours? Oh, it's getting worse. So how many fish bodies you guess? 100? 200?
Where's Neil from?
Neil, that's a good question. We'll ask him when he gets back. He's from chat. He's somebody
See,
who
it did it to me again. Every time somebody leaves, I lose my audio. I'll be right back.
Okay. You wussy. Hold on, let me give Kyle a special salute. Where's Kyle's salute? You're back. You do what you got to do, brother. I love you either way. You're welcome to jump in at will, or you hang in the chat. Nice. Hey, Kyle, did you see my VOD that I successfully pulled off? It goes live at 9 o'clock tonight. My little my dragonfly warnie with my Flytanium K390.
Nice.
I love this little knife. We're a Flytanium dealer where I do part-time. So I got these for my ZDP 189. The first knife I bought when I got back into collecting. It had green FRN scales. And I put these black ones on. I attempted to. After 45 minutes and enough cuss words to where I would have gotten my channel pulled, I finally killed the video. It's the first disassembly video that's beaten me. So I took my little knife in a bag with the parts, because they're only like 4 parts for this knife.
Yeah.
Down to Tate at Knives and More, and he put it together for me and showed me what I did wrong. I was trying to set the spring last. You don't want to do that. I mean, most normal people would say, of course not. Put the blade in and the spring, get them set, and then drop the lid on.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't like taking apart Spydercos.
You know, Spydercos, to take them all the way apart, I don't either. To do a scale swap, it's a pretty easy scale swap because that pivot works on both sides.
It depends, though, because if you have like a PM2, like I did this.
Was it micarta?
No, it was a regular PM2. But I put titanium scales on it, and getting those scales off of that lanyard tube. Man.
Dude, they make a tool for that. And I know you never have it when you need it.
Yeah.
It's what you have to do is, and I'm sure you just got to spin it like at 80 degrees or 180 degrees, and then you can put a blow dryer on it, if that helps. But they press fit those damn things in. I've had some that I've wrestled with for a good 30 minutes, and I've had some that come out. They always go in the titanium easily, but getting them out of the original scales, and I've ruined a set of scales on one of my PM2s.
I ruined a lanyard tube.
Oh, you janked up the tube? The good thing is you can pick up the tubes anywhere. OCD for EDC's got them on his site, and I like the tube. Do you use the lanyard?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you did. Because I've got my Mannix. Kyle put me in a lanyard stopper and anode it to match my ball cage handle.
Okay.
I've really gotten into Spyderco. I'll tell you what we're having a hard time getting are the PM series salts that they've now done in MagnaCut with the black scales. Those are badass.
I would love one. I have a Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great knife. That is really underrated.
I wonder, and I don't think it would even compare to a Spyderco. Are you familiar with the Adria series from Benchmade, from their water series?
No.
I don't know much. I don't know much about it. It's a pretty interesting looking knife. I've not Benchmade Adria. I think it's all of their water series are blue, which I think is kind of weird. Let's see if it even pulls up. I don't even think it's going to pull up for me. Oh, fuck it.
So check this out. You guys might be interested in these.
Don't drop in your lap, dude. I'm going to make you big if you don't mind.
My wife gets me one of these every year. It's just like a little leather box, holds all kinds of different stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But I lay out all my different EDC in here for different situations. and it slides in my table. So I just have like a series of them under the glass on the table.
So you can see down through them. Is there? You said a glass table?
Yeah, I have it's a table, and then it has like a glass top on it, so I can use the glass top. But all the stuff underneath, I can see where it's at.
Very nice.
But these things are awesome, and I always, I don't even know if he's in business anymore, but Hubs Hanks makes these perfect little like, they're like fleece lined knife sleeves. And I keep everything stacked in here for each, whatever I'm dealing with for the day. If I'm going fishing, I already know what, like, by the design, like what's in the, what's in here.
Very nice. What's up, guys? Had a couple of people jump in.
Yeah.
How you doing, Neil?
Hello.
Gary, he's lagging a bit.
Is he?
Yeah, he's not just sitting there looking like that. He's having lag issues.
I got you. What's up,
Gary,
Bugsy?
that's Neil in the top right corner,
What's up, Shane?
and then Bugsy's joined us in the middle. How are
John,
you, my friend?
I hated to do this to you, but I've been over at B's all night.
That's okay. Did you win anything?
No, that's not why I was there. He revealed that homestead that I made for him.
What did he think about it? I'm going to go back and watch it.
He loved it. The chat loved it.
Why did he think he was going
and
to
Bob
back
DeMarco
you?
revealed the junkie. Huh?
The what? You broke up. Bob DeMarco did what?
Oh, Bob DeMarco revealed the junkie last night. And I would sound braggadocious if I mentioned the dollar amount of sales I've made the past 2 days. So my books are closed currently.
Hey, that's great, dude.
Congratulations, Shane.
Thank you.
So why did Bees think he was sending you that knife, since he didn't know you were going to replace the handles? What did he think you were doing?
I just told him I wanted to touch it up a bit. The refinement wasn't where I wanted it, and then I asked him, how far I could go with the changes, and he's like, "Hey, man, you do whatever you want to do." And Terry, by the way, that sheath got as many compliments as the knife did. So, but and he's like, "Yeah, man, whatever you want to do." And for the price he paid for that, that was one of the first knives I ever made. He got it at a really good deal. So, but yeah, he was tickled to death. He couldn't believe how well I nailed his background. And when you see it on the live, and you see I don't think I realized how good I nailed it.
How far was he in? Is it like he starts at 7:15, right? So is it like an hour in?
He did it at exactly 9:03.
9:03.
That was Central Time. So yeah, I guess that would be an hour in. He unboxed it.
And Bob's live was Wednesday night, or he goes Wednesday night, right?
Bob was Thursday.
Thursday. Gary, are you familiar with Bob DeMarco?
The Knife Junkie?
Yes.
Yeah, I've listened to his podcast a couple times.
I didn't know if you guys had ever met.
I've never met. No.
Yeah, I could get him in touch with you. That would be a perfect interview for you to do. You guys would
I'd be glad to do it.
Really well.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Shane. He does Shane, explain the type of podcast he did with you.
It's just he's a way more professional platform than we are. And like you said, you've listened, so you know what I mean. But I mean, he's on Spotify. Thousands of people listen to it that don't get a chance to watch it. But that's his thing. Every week he presents a maker, and it's just really professionally done. I really enjoy going on there. I've been on there a couple of times.
And he talked to you before the live, right, Shane? I mean, he's really good on prep and stuff like that.
He's very he is a professional producer.
Yeah, that's his real job, his daytime job.
Some of those military weapons shows that were on Discovery Channel, Bob produced those. So he's the real deal. But I could literally send him a text, tell him your name and how to get in touch with you. I know he would want to interview you.
Gary, I think that would be a fantastically interesting because Bob is so. He's a very nice guy. He's very smart about. I mean, you guys would have so much to talk about. I just think that would be, and you get a great audience.
I could use my radio voice for that.
He,
Welcome to the Bob DeMarco podcast.
His fans are pretty well known for buying stuff by people who were on his podcast.
Very much so.
Those are my kind of fans.
Exactly.
See if this makes this easier to see.
Yeah. I'm not going to mention how many sales I made last night, just him showing that knife, but it was
Introduce Bob to Creeley Blades. Have him go by the website, because I think what Bob will like is the fact that Gary, how he has his production set up where people can buy knives today or tomorrow. Yeah. Some they can't, not everything.
And Bob doesn't discriminate. You know, he has a lot of people on that design knives here and have them made there. He's not necessarily a steel snob himself, but he has a deep appreciation for people who are into performance heat treats and geometries, but he's a lifelong knife guy. Him and his wife both are very well trained in knife fighting and martial arts. They don't look the type at all.
They look like business people. Where'd they meet again, Shane?
In a knife fighting class. Yeah.
See, that's a place where I would not go and meet a woman.
I bet everybody in that class was super jealous because, and he knows I mean no offense, but his wife is a beautiful lady and very, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. She's a lady. I'll just put it that way. She's,
sophisticated.
She's sophisticated. That's a good word.
Check this out, Shane.
What's in that?
It'll make you big.
So that's not double D10 or anything. That's just a friction folder, right?
Yep, but that's Pete Smith.
Integral.
So Toyota and Tools reached out to me because he wants one, and I had to inform him that I don't think he's making knives anymore.
Yeah, no. So the funny thing about this is I showed this to Eric Glesser.
Yeah.
The Spyderco, and he went nuts over it. The first one I had.
Yeah.
I gifted it to him.
I got you.
And
That's
then
cool.
I told Teddy about it, and he made me another one.
That's awesome. Does he just not have, was he not making enough money, or did he just lose passion, or what do you think caused him to quit making?
Honestly, I was thinking about starting doing some lives on my own. And trying to have makers on, like I just spent the day at a buddy's house of mine who he's the owner of CMF Metalworks. As an example, but I'm trying to get together with some of these more obscure makers that just have like crazy skill sets.
Right.
And Teddy was definitely one of the guys I thought about immediately, and I reached out to him and he got back to me, but he doesn't even want to get on camera. He doesn't really want to talk about it or anything.
If I had to guess what would stop somebody from making other than a physical disability is probably the lack of profit in the beginning. Like you question, I'm sure Gary can vouch for this. In the beginning, you question every month. You're questioning, is this worth my time? Because it's hard to make money to start with, or at least that.
I think it gets harder to make money the further into it you get.
Does it?
Sometimes, like what I think happens with guys is I happen to be a knife guy and a business guy, but like a lot of knife guys are kind of passionate artist types.
They're not businessmen.
And what happens is you make one knife, I want to make the next knife better, want to make the knife after that better than that one, and so on and so forth. But what happens is, the more hours you put into a knife, you're not going to sell it for exponentially more dollars than the hours you put into it. So sometimes there's a lack of pragmatism
Right.
Can you hear me?
Sometimes.
Well, I'll be honest, Gary. I've told people this a lot of times. There's a couple of people in the chat. I don't know if they're in here tonight, but Bobo Shenanigans and B Shady literally keep me motivated with fire emojis. Like when I post something I did on Instagram, those two guys always hit me with fire emojis, and that's what keeps me going. It is not the money. The money affords me to go out and eat every now and then when I might not could have. It's not making me any more wealthy by any means, but the fire emojis are what I do it for.
Yeah, if you don't have kind of that weird love for knives, that passion for knives, that interest in it, this is not the business you get into because it's easy money.
Right.
It's very.
It's a grind, literally.
Tricky. It's tricky to make money making knives. Yeah. I got 3 knives to show if you're interested.
Very so much so.
Yeah,
definitely.
Gary, I want to add to that before you show though. I got a phone call from a very well-renowned maker. I'm not going to mention his name because it may be a little embarrassing, but very well known, very highly regarded. And out of the blue, this guy called me. Never spoke to him before in my life, asking me for tips on how to sew his knives. I will never be able to make a knife like he makes or to the standard that he makes them, but he has no online presence. He has very little people skill. His knives have created a name for himself, but it's not, people aren't seeing that name and hearing that name often enough to keep him in mind to buy. And I think last time I talked to him, he had sold everything he had to Arizona Custom Knives because he couldn't sell knives.
Shane, that's not, there's several that are great makers that don't have the wherewithal to make a huge.
Yeah, except for the fact that he's so far behind the 8-ball on online promoting himself. So I don't know how much of that y'all caught my cut out.
This is exactly the kind of person that I would want on my channel. I like people that are like super high-end crafters. Like my buddy Ian over at CMF. The guy can put together a folding knife out of an idea in a day. And it's incredible.
If you heard this name, you'd know exactly who I'm talking about. Everybody here knows who this guy is. But like I said, I'm not going to say it publicly because I think it might be a little embarrassing for him. But
you can drop it in the private chat.
Yeah.
So we got to have him on.
A lot of those guys, and I'll tell you, the young man that I met that I showed last week who made the titanium staff or mace, I think is what it's called, and he makes those one-of-a-kind little polecats is what he's called, but it's like half of a balisong with the baker's forged Damascus blade. He doesn't feel comfortable even with a camera on him. And I've told him that a lot of people join just with the top-down camera, or he could just join with his voice if he wanted to talk about it. And a lot of these makers, like one that joined us on Friday Night Flicks, they suffer from imposter syndrome. They don't feel, they don't communicate well because they're artists, so they've got a different thing going on there on their communication spectrum. And B, they don't feel, either they don't feel that their stuff's worth it, or they just throw it out there like a lead balloon and scare people away without talking about the value that they get.
One more thing, and now let Gary show his knives. Yoda, I don't know if you're being sarcastic, but just to get the record clear on where he's been, I don't know. But he doesn't come around, I don't think, any of us anymore, because I put my foot down on him telling people that believed in God that they're idiots, or if you were ever in the military, you were a bootlicker, and that both of those groups of people are effing stupid. And F you if you believe in either one of those things, and he doesn't want you to purchase his products. And I just couldn't be part of that. I didn't want it in my live stream. So I uninvited him to my live streams, and
he
been
went
talking
nuclear.
trash about all of us ever since. But he can do whatever he wants.
Absolutely.
He can do whatever he wants over in his little world. It's just not part of my world.
No, there was talks.
So go ahead.
Who was that?
What's his company's
Donnie
called?
Bless.
Yeah, Donnie Bless. It was
Laser
Bless
Ghost
Knives.
Oh, I never heard of him.
Hey, Javon, real
He
quick.
changed it from Blessed Knives because he was afraid people would associate his knife name with religion, and he didn't want any part of that. So he changed it to Laser Ghost. But
He's toxic, in my opinion.
I want to send these to you,
Those are
Javon. So I have the. Do you want the smock scales, the original scales, also?
No, I love that on the left though. On your right.
Yeah. I mean, I have both. I don't know if
I
you want
didn't
me
know
to
he
send
was
both
not
with
right.
you. I don't have any need for these.
Please, if you don't mind, dude, I would love that.
Yeah, for sure. Hit me up in the messenger.
If you're looking for him, he goes live anytime John or I are live, and he even says it at the beginning. He does it out of spite. So if you're looking for him, he's online.
No reason for spite, man.
What do you got, Gary?
That's
I'm gonna make
sure.
you big. I didn't mean to just throw you big. I do that sometimes.
So we were talking on Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. We're talking about this, about the price of knives and how some companies, U.S. companies, are just outrageously expensive for what they sell. And I bought 2 knives recently that are, I think, the antithesis of what we were talking about in that knife. I mean, in that night. Freudian slip there. So one of them is a newer model. And this is the Hogue Misto. I ordered this from... I got to get a down pointing camera.
Oh, I can see that. That's a great knife.
It looks good. Yeah, it looks good from this angle.
It's got some... Yeah. I'll get a better camera for this stuff later. But it's got some milling in the scale. This is Hogue's answer, I think, to a 940. But I think this is a better knife than a 940 for my... I don't know about better than 940, but there's some things I like about this better than a 940, especially the price.
Is it aluminum handle?
Is it what?
Aluminum handle or G10?
G10.
G10, okay.
And it's, their access lock, whatever they call it. Yeah, you can put it ambidextrous in terms of the clip. Can go on the other side. I got this on Knife Center, the black one. I wanted the blue one, but it was out of stock. But the black one was on sale for $141. Magna cut steel, U.S. made. You got to spend $300 for a good U.S. knife.
That is less expensive than the Kershaw Bel Air last year, which has gone up almost $100. That's a great price.
Action's good, easy one hand.
And there's a difference. Kershaw, that Bel Air may be American made, but it's not American owned, so that makes that Hogue even more attractive.
Now, if we want to move up the chart a little bit, this is the other knife I got recently.
The Bulldog.
This is the Bulldog, the TRM Bulldog. Let's hold it in a way in which you can see it. And I want you to see if you guys can pick this up. There's a gratifying high frequency ping when you open and close it. I want you to see if you guys. I don't know if that comes through or not.
It does.
A little bit.
But
a little harmonic.
This guy's like almost $400 with titanium.
But
without titanium, it's like $225.
Yeah, if you get one like this in G10, it's under $250.
Yeah, it's like $225. And so that is the one you have is the V1. This is the V2 of the Bulldog. Take a look at the opening hole. You see the difference? Oh, you
Yeah,
got a V2.
I've got a V2 too.
Yeah. So my G10 one is a V1 also. And the third knife, you guys can give me some opinions on. This is one of mine that I haven't made yet, but is something I want to make. It's in the pipeline, so to speak. This is a 3D printed version of it. That's glow in the dark stuff there. But this is the knife I call the medium.
You were talking about that. That's the first time I've seen it. So you said it's larger than the Mako, right?
Yes. Here's a
Between the
Mako.
Mako.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, there's a Mako.
I love the shape.
that's the difference in size compared to me and Javon.
Yeah.
One's for John, one's for me.
Yeah. So this is, yeah, I liked. I made one little change. I made this choil less abrupt. Just, yeah, I made that less abrupt.
Gary, what's the largest blade you make?
I make one called the Backcountry, but I don't make it very much. I only make a few of them. It's about the size of an SE6.
Okay.
It's my take on an SE6.
I'm looking for a good 10-inch blade on something.
Yeah, I've not made anything with a 10-inch blade.
I prefer carrying that to an axe when I go backpacking long term.
I've got a line on that, Bugsy. I've been working on that ever since you mentioned it, and
yeah.
I've got somebody, because my oven's not big enough for that, but I've got somebody that does have a deeper oven that's willing, and I think you would like the collab anyway. So,
Gary, what's the length of that blade? No, I'm just curious. What the length is? That a 5-inch blade or 4-inch blade? And what'd you make that bad boy out of?
Well, I might cut a couple thin ones out of Magnamax. That'd be fun. It's about 3.5 inch.
Okay, 3.5-inch blade.
Yeah.
So probably about the size of a PM2 open.
No, a little bigger than that, I'd say.
Okay.
A little bigger than that. It's 8.5 overall.
It's weird when people are comparing knives to the PM2, Gary, like John just did. Even if the blade length was the exact same, that taller blade, the fact that it's taller, is always going to make it appear way bigger than a PM2.
I made a fixed blade PM2 a while back out of 52-100 just for fun. Nobody bought it. I think I still have it somewhere.
I like the taller blade because it gives me more real estate to get a steeper geometry.
Here's that Winkler, Shane.
Oh yeah.
So Gary, is that a thick chop with knife, or is it more of a slicing knife?
Yeah, it'll be more of a slicing knife.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd probably be 1/8 inch, maybe 156 stock. Somewhere in there.
See the taper on this bad boy?
Yeah, I'm a little impressed with the disco taper on the handle, but at the same time, I've always felt like
the weight is so in the dead center of this knife. I love this knife.
So how much is that knife?
I got this so long ago. I think it was 200 something.
Yeah, I think they're around $300 now.
Yeah, they're more now. Does it come with that really nice leather sheath?
Yeah, the sheath is amazing. Actually, it's
the sheath is a well over $100 sheath if you were buying it on its own. The most impressive.
This is attached to
they're carbon steel.
It's attached to my plate carrier, but
yeah, double-sided leather pancake,
and it's got Kydex in it or something
to keep it rigid. Yeah.
It's got suede. It's got suede inside, a harder leather on the outside, and there's a Kydex layer in the middle.
Interesting.
They may be 80 CRV too, Gary. I'm not positive.
Yeah, I run this on my AK rig.
Yeah, Gary, I actually did a blade swap on mine because I got my 20 CV because that's what they were working with drilled out, and then my Magna Cut because they weren't drilling it's the little hole, and I wanted the big hole on my titanium scales.
So your
these aren't
titanium
supposed to
started
be-
as a V1?
What's that?
Did your titanium start as a V1?
It sure did. It's
I
not
see.
supposed to
That's
be
the
able
only
to.
difference, just the hole there?
It's not supposed to be able to. Emily told me I wouldn't be able to do it, but I'd taken apart so many Benchmades because they say the shadow you can't mod, which is their bigger knife. But I put skiff bearings just because I skiff up a lot of things. Scott Stiff and I work together some, and I'll do videos. I've got a video taking this apart, putting skiff bearings in it too. Which again, just have more balls and a nicer ring, I guess you call it, or whatever the balls go in.
Hey, Leatherworks, yeah, I've tried a bunch of Tops knives. They don't perform the way I want for the weight that they are.
Gary, are you familiar with Scott Steele's Edgy Blade Works?
No.
Not a lot of people are. In my opinion, highly refined. I'm sorry, I'm back. Anyway, in my opinion, Scott Steele's makes the finest folding pocket knife on the planet. As far as, aesthetics and refinement. I don't care for his blade shapes. They're a little off the wall. But he has engineered something into his knives that makes them sound like a tuning fork when you open them. It happened by accident on the first one. And now he's figured out what caused that and leaned even more into it so that that ring, that ting is even louder and more pronounced. And I know that means that means nothing in the world of, a performance knife, but I mean, he sells out within 5 minutes of open a blade show. So apparently they're.
Can y'all see those?
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah, that's his design.
I just think it's really cool that he's found that little. His design language is a little different.
But
that's what makes, to me, every now and.
Oh, you got your shield.
I think it's good to be.
It's a pry bar.
There you go. It is. Yeah, it's a pry bar with a point. Yeah.
Neil has won.
That was the result of having an extra half inch. I had to shave off the side of a bar of crewware, so I made those. I call them the prick, but it's an icebreaker / pry bar.
So Gary, are your thoughts? You are bringing the medium into production, or are you still wrestling with the concept? Does it have a place in your line?
It does have a place in the line. It's just a matter of capitalizing. When I run a knife, it's roughly $25,000 event. And so I bought a lot of steel lately. I cut a lot of steel lately. I have a lot of stuff going in the heat treat. I got stuff that's back. So I need to sell off some of the stock that I have. And that's going fairly well, honestly. But once I have a little extra money, then I'll start going forward in producing that.
Do you mind when you say 25,000, and I know you have a capacity in mind, break that down just in that's the cost of you getting from the raw materials to having them back and assembled in your facility, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. From the heat treat, the cutting, the steel itself is quite expensive now. The scales, manufacturing those, hardware, shipping, packing materials, sheaths, kydex, tooling to start making the kydex. And it's just a big chunk because you can't make 20 of them or 30 of them.
Right.
the way I do it. I got to make at least 300, and that's a
Just
bigger
to make
knife.
it make sense. Sure.
And a bigger knife really runs up that steel. Now I can probably fit 60 of those on a sheet, but the sheets are $1,800 each, and I have to do 300. So work that math out.
Yeah, that can be exorbitantly quick. And you don't do pre-orders, right? You said you don't.
Not per se. Like I do a deposit, but not a pre-order.
Hey Gary, quick question.
Yes, sir.
This is a titanium dive knife. It's actually made out of titanium. What's the best way for me to sharpen this bad boy?
Sharpen it like you'd sharpen anything else.
It's kind of like a chisel grind too. It's. Oh
yeah. Yeah, sharpen it like anything else. In fact, I just cut out a bunch of titanium blades. I don't know if you guys know John Gray.
I do.
Yeah, John was up at my shop. He almost killed himself on one of my chairs.
Oh no!
That's a story for another day. But
he's a character.
He went to sit on one of my chairs, and it's one of these Amazon like stools, and it just slid out from under him. And he fell backwards, whacked his head in my surface grinder, but he hit his elbow, like arm, on the surface grinder. No blood, fortunately.
Well, the elbow probably slowed down his momentum towards the surface grinder, right?
He was hurting, though. He was hurting. I felt so bad. But so, that's he did a titanium. He has these titanium sheets, and we're making some collaboration. He has a model of knife. Let's see here. I can. Oh, that's that. Yeah, we're working on a couple of things. So, let me see. Well, let me share this here. I'll share my screen for a second. Bum. Where is it? Oh, there it is.
This thing still slice of peppers, Bugsy?
I don't have any right now, but that's the plan. The wife
Shane, don't forget to send Bob DeMarco a text for Brother Gary.
Oh, I certainly will.
I think that'd be
a minute, actually. I wanted to show something when Gary gets done.
The wife got a brand new knife set, so this one's all mine.
Gary, it hadn't come up yet. Is it my computer?
Bugsy won that knife in a giveaway we did.
I'll get it here in a minute.
Because he was one of the first people to donate a significant amount to Brother James's fundraiser. And I don't know if you've been here for that, Bugsy, but we collectively saved that guy's life.
That's great news, man. I'm hoping he's doing all right.
Yeah, he's back, able to work a couple days a week, but that's not the important thing. The main thing he wanted was to be alive to see his grandchild born, and all that's happened, and he's in way better shape than he was, and that's thanks to the knife community, because literally nobody else helped him. So
yeah, man, I love the knife community.
Hats off to all y'all again for that.
And tomorrow night, don't forget the auction. We'll put that up here in a second.
And what knife is this, Gary?
So this is a knife John Gray designed, and so this is a minnow. Here, just so you can. Yeah, that's a minnow. Just put it into perspective, 1/4-inch holes here, but this is just a knife that he's doing. Puts thin scales on it. This will be tight. This is all titanium, the whole blade. He's doing some minnows in titanium too. It's this special type of titanium. It has a lot of vanadium in it. There's a heat treat protocol for it that's supposedly top secret. I don't know, but whatever. Anyway, it's just something I'm helping him with, and so he'll have a few of these knives out in the wild.
Okay.
It's
so when you say you sharpen it like a regular knife, you start probably with a lower grit or a smoother stone, or not necessarily?
I would probably put I probably wouldn't go real fine with it, honestly.
Okay.
You're thinking of tungsten, John. Tungsten.
I would probably want it. I would probably want it pretty toothy. To be honest with you.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, that edge is laid back so much. It's really meant for puncturing.
Yeah.
But
supposedly it cuts for a while. I Rockwell tested that titanium at around 35. I don't know how much harder it gets with the heat treat.
Somebody looked it up on a live stream one night and found that some titanium alloys can get in the 60s. I had no idea that was possible.
Bugsy's used his. How many times, Bugsy, have you put a fish body on it?
Oh, there's thousands of fish bodies on this one.
Bugsy, there's something you do that I like, and it got me to thinking. I love how when you showed the rig that you keep a particular knife on, and this is my M4 chest rig.
Nice.
And I'm a little embarrassed to admit that currently there's a Freeman knife on it and not my Age of, but there's an Age of American Blades on my PCC rig. So that helps me feel a little better about it. But I just think it's weird that some people would think it's weird that I have somebody else's knife on such an important piece of equipment. But I'm not embarrassed to admit how much I love this knife. I can't make this. I'm not a CNC guy.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this thing.
You saw that knife, walked around for an hour and 10 minutes talking about nothing but that knife before you were drawn back to buy it. So that knife has a special place on your chest rig, and it should.
Yeah, that's where it lives, right there in case of emergencies. I hope I pass away in my peaceful sleep one day and I never have to put this thing on. But if I do, Freeman Outdoors is with me. So
yeah, I refuse to go to Valhalla unarmed.
Yeah.
So.
I love that guy. I don't know his first name, but Mr. Freeman from Freeman Outdoors. I always enjoy any time I get to spend with him at Blade Show.
That's the channel where the live stream is tomorrow night. 20 hours. I don't know what 1800 is. It's going to be an auction. Blade Aid Live. The ADC community helps Blade Walker, and there's going to be an auction. Yeah, to help him get some anti-rejection medications after his transplant.
Man, I wish I'd known that. I'd have made something for it. I don't have anything to put up for auction right now.
But yeah, Shane, like this one's titanium, so this one is on my my waterproof plate carrier. I got lightweight plates that float because I'm surrounded by water here. This one's on the AK rig because if I'm rocking the AK, I'm not worried about rust.
I'm not going to go into why that is, but I understand.
That's nice. Is that a folding Freeman?
It is.
Nice.
Yeah, I've always wanted one. I've never had the money at the right time.
What steel is that one in, Gary?
Gary? Show that one more time.
This is in MagnaCut when MagnaCut was pretty new, and I went over a Blade show. Somebody came to my table and showed me this knife at Blade. I was like, how much was it? It was like 300 or 325 or something like that. I'm like, I don't have many custom folders because they're usually just way out of my price range. This is aluminum, which is 100% okay with me. The only thing I kind of prefer guys do, and he could probably easily do this, I would prefer that was a deep carry clip. You know, I don't like that much of my blade sticking out the top. But other than that, I mean, I'm also not crazy about these Gratons. I mean, that's sort of ridiculous. But it's cool. It was cool. I like it. It's not the most slicey thing in my collection. I sharpened it and made it a good bit sharper. It looks like I have used it, though.
Mine didn't come super sharp either. And I'll say this about deep carry clips. I think he's leaning more towards a tactical feel. And if you're in that world, or if you're just a fan of it or whatever, then I do prefer to have more knives sticking out of my pocket so that I can acquire it easier. Now, that's not to say that I ever have that need or will ever be in a position to have that need. But for a tactical knife, I don't mind it sticking a little further out of my pocket. But for everyday carry, I prefer it a little deeper.
Or if it's sticking somewhere out of a vest, you know, I want that little bit of something to grab onto. That's why I don't like the PM2 on my vest.
That's why I like lanyards. You know,
yeah.
So many of these YouTube hype train creators, you know, have turned. You know, they even call lanyard people weirdos. Lanyards are a tool just like the knife. You know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with a lanyard. Some knives, the fret, the thug, or both, way more usable, way more deployable with a lanyard. So I like lanyards.
Whenever people make absolute statements like lanyards are bad, or every knife needs a lanyard, or choils are great, or choils are terrible, you know, anytime anybody makes these absolute statements, it's just nonsense, because ultimately, there's nuance to these conversations. There's a time for a lanyard. Like, for instance, a minnow.
Ryan.
A lanyard's really helpful in that. But some other knives, I put a lanyard hole on this guy, but I would never put a lanyard on this.
Right. But some people need it.
Some people want them, like them.
I have nerve damage in my fingers, Gary, and I have a hard time feeling things with the tips of my fingers. And I find myself digging. I'm already on the knife. I just don't know it. So I'm kind of fiddling with it for a minute to get a good purchase to pull it out of my pocket. But with a lanyard, I can catch the lanyard between my thumb and forefinger and pop that knife right out and catch it, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, and with the lanyard too, like I have a lot of gear on me all the time. I'm in like climbing gear with my whole harness and everything like that. And I need to be able to identify exactly when I reach down what I'm grabbing.
Right. Makes perfect sense.
But check this out. This lanyard bead, I don't know if anybody can see that.
Yeah.
I see it.
It's a bottle opener.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this bead over here is actually a tiny urn that I keep some of my dog's ashes in.
Oh, that's cool.
Very cool, dude. And that's both on your, what knife was that?
That's the Norseman. And I was going to show this too, because like the milling on that, what was that last knife you guys showed?
That was Freeman, where it's vertical.
Yeah, the Freeman does the vertical ones. These guys, you can see they leave them on the blade lengthwise and here. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't tell here. Sorry.
Do they call that step milling?
Vertical ones. These guys
it's what that is called is the step over.
Not even sure if you could see it.
So, in other words, when you're milling, as you go to the next pass, there's the amount of which you overlap. And so,
in other words,
technically, that would be considered kind of not great mill work.
Yeah.
But it's
Brian Kim calls it lazy. Well, he just calls it lazy. He's like, I'm glad y'all like it, but it's kind of lazy because you get to skip a step.
Yeah. Well, it's become its
kind of
own
like
thing.
The Freeman, though. It's almost like mathematically pleasing because you can see
I enjoy it. I enjoy it too, but I don't want it on every knife. ABW does it a lot. Yeah. For the maker, it's great though because they get to skip a whole step. They don't have to go back and clean all that up.
I want one of these in Damas steel, but I can't find one anywhere.
What was that?
The Norseman.
Oh.
You can find these for like $500 now.
Oh, really?
The Norseman is literally dangerously drop shutty for me because of my reduced dexterity in my hands. I can't get my thumb out of the way fast enough. I don't need a Norseman. I had one on loan, and it's not for me. I appreciate it. But
what's funny is that's a knife that I used to find extremely unattractive and not appealing at all, and now it speaks to me.
Yeah.
And you know the thing that really gets me with these guys, I could take this knife apart 1,000 times and put it back together, and it goes back together exactly the way it came apart. It is
the tolerances are just so precise.
It is unbelievable. It's awesome. Like, I will have this knife forever just because of that reason. This is the only knife I've taken apart that literally just kind of slaps back together. You can't mess it up.
Right.
And dude, the lock bar tension on these things it doesn't seem real that it'll stay locked, but it does. And then
Bugsy, make sure this year at Blade Show, you'll have to get there very first, but go to Scott Stills' booth and experience the action on one of his knives. And if they're already sold out, because they sold out in 5 minutes last year.
Stevie has one.
It was said Stevie, and just ask to fondle his Edgy Blade Works knife. I've never experienced anything like it. I don't know what he does. I don't know the secrets, but that tuning fork ring when it opens, the hydraulic controlled greased glass closing, it's the only thing I've ever felt that felt more precision machined than a Grimsmo.
Yeah, the only ones that give them a run for their money, in my opinion, is Holt. In the price range.
I experienced a Prince recently, and I would almost have to have both knives at the same time to pick. But if I had to pick right now, I would say the Scott Stills is just a hair better, but it's not by much.
Yeah, for me, like I said, I would have to go through it, take it apart, put it back together, and then like it would have to earn its place over this thing,
Right, and that's the thing about Scott Stills too, is his blade designs are a lot like Grimsmo. They're not for everybody.
It's a very weird Tonto.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to make a drop point everybody else has made. And the result of that is some pretty funky looking blades, but they grow on you.
But like, this is so useful. Like, it doesn't seem like it would be, but this blade shape I found to be so useful.
Right.
Like, even if you're trying to cut up under something, like through a cloth this way, that little point here is perfect.
Right. Got a little recurve there
and you can push cut like really nice and flat. I use this a lot in the woods too, like just to see. And man, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
How's Kyle?
I'm okay. How are you guys?
Well, good, Kyle. It's good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, buddy.
I'm good. I'm off today.
Oh, he talks. Is he over 50 words yet?
You leave Neil alone, Kyle.
He's been having Wi-Fi issues, Kyle.
I appreciate Neil being here, taking his good time out away from playing Warcraft.
Last time, Kyle, I don't play Warcraft, so shut the fuck up. It's going on.
I don't know if I'm hindering the live stream. I keep freezing up every 30 seconds. If that's affecting the rest of the stream, let me know.
You're not freezing up.
I'm freezing up on my end. I can hear y'all okay.
Yeah, it's not coming through as you freezing up.
Okay.
Good to see you, Neil.
What's up?
I'm over here sorting Pokemon cards and you're making fun of his Dungeons and Dragons.
Pokemon cards can have some value.
I was watching a recent video of some Ukrainian forces in the trenches, and their communications, because I don't know if y'all know this, but the entire Ukraine-Russian war is being fought over Starlink. There is no secure network. It's just going out over Starlink through, what was that chat program, Kyle?
What's that?
Telegram?
No, not Telegram.
What's
WhatsApp.
that?
Yeah. They're literally fighting a war through WhatsApp over Starlink. So you know what their secured words are? They're all Pokemon names. So they're sitting there in the middle of a firefight calling out Pokemon names because that's their encrypted language is Pokemon. And I thought that's hilarious that they're using Pokemon characters to keep the Russians from understanding what they're talking about.
Well, and it's also probably easy to talk to all the different kinds of soldiers that are there because they all know what that is.
Yeah.
That's like us talking about golf courses.
the military is full of anime nerds. If you follow a lot of these special forces guys, I mean, tip of the spear type people, Delta Force, almost all of them are nerds. Like they were comic book nerds, anime.
Superhero stuff.
Well, they have to have something to take that edge
rough
off.
and tumble cowboy. Yeah,
Not
a lot of them were
can...
skaters. Yeah, it's just not the group of people you would think would be anime and Pokemon nerds, the most deadly people on the planet.
Right? Yeah, like not that I'm comparing myself to any of them, but what I do all day is I'm on the edge of the roof all day, and it's like taking like a new guy up there is funny because you kind of forget how much pressure you're under after you've done it for so long. But when you bring somebody else up there, you realize how it affects them and how quickly it affects them. So when you get off work, you just need something that's bullshit to do. The fish help when I'm home, but when I'm out of town, I don't want to go to the bar right away. So
when you say roofs, are you on towers? Are you on roofs? What are you doing, Bugsy?
Yeah, I do lightning protection. So
you're at the tallest part.
Yeah, we have to be above everything else by at least 10 inches by code.
So you've hung in some precarious situations, I guess.
Yep.
Have you read Benjamin Franklin's biography by Walter Isaacson?
No.
Yeah.
No, I feel like
his work's related to your work. Some of it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Have you ever felt it? Have you ever felt the electricity, Bugsy? Have you ever almost gotten electrocuted or felt it buzz up you?
I've been electrocuted. I was an electrician before I specialized in lightning, and I just so happened to also be a climber, and they needed people to go up there, and 99% of people are like, hell no. And I was like, so if I go up there, you're gonna pay me and leave me alone? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, okay, I'll take that job.
That's perfect.
Well, it's interesting that before the invention of the lightning rod, the leading cause of fires was lightning.
Yeah.
Like we don't really think about that today. I mean, it happens, but it's rare.
Yeah, it still happens in Africa every year.
Yeah, back in the day, that was a real concern, and we didn't understand electricity. What a lot of what we think about, like if it's a long biography, you can get the audio version. So if you have Spotify or whatever, it's on there. Walter Isaacson's biography on Benjamin Franklin. But a lot of what makes Americans American, the way we think, the way we approach. Now, my wife's from Europe, so I spent a fair amount of time in Europe and other parts of the world. And there is an American way of being. Like, you don't know what an American accent sounds like or your regional accent sounds like until you hear other people and so on have something to compare to. Similarly, a lot of the ways that we think and sort of the mantra came from Ben Franklin. A lot of the American way of thinking was his doing. A lot of it. It's an interesting biography. He's an interesting dude. He's an interesting dude.
I hear he's a creep.
I don't know. Maybe they all seem to be at some point. I mean, Henry Ford was a Nazi. Luther was a little bit of a Martin Luther. Anyway, but an interesting character nonetheless, and just a fascinating dude. And you learn a lot about. Like, for instance, one of the fun things, speaking about being a creep, one of the funny things he did was, like the Dear Abby sections and papers where you write into Dear Abby. We had this, he had this he was into newspapers. And he had this section that was like a Dear Abby that women would write in asking about their women problems and different stuff like this. And he'd answer in the paper. But it was him with like this female pen name. And so for years, and it was like super popular. That he would be answering all these women's like inquiries as I forget what the name was. It had a name. Just a fascinating dude. Dude.
Yeah,
And,
he literally, I think, was probably the most pivotal person the most pivotal architect in America. I mean, everybody had a little input, but I don't think anybody had more input and more ideas than Ben Franklin did.
Gary,
Philadelphia was
if you're
very
really into that history, there's a restaurant in Savannah, Georgia called the Pink House. You got to check it out.
Yeah.
Check out
Franklin,
the history. Check out the restaurant.
It's where they drafted the Articles of Confederation in the basement.
Oh, okay.
And it's all like candlelight. There's no electricity down there because the entire bar was hidden. And the doors and the safe that were down there were designed by Thomas Edison.
Ah.
Wow.
It's a really cool place.
If I'm not
Gary,
mistaken,
have you ever been to Savannah? Gary?
I've not been to Savannah. I've been to Atlanta.
Well, listen, I went to Savannah, and my wife and I were trying to find a good restaurant, not a tourist trap. And we were told to try I knew I'd forget. So anyway, they gave us the directions to get there. We show up at the exact directions they gave us, and there's no restaurant. It's just the old, Southern dual staircase, historic houses. But there's a guy out there hand planing a door. And I asked him where this restaurant was at, and he looked at me and said, "Just wait in line right there." And I look around, there is no line, buddy. I'm here by myself, or we're here by ourselves. But within 10 minutes, that line was.
The dramatic pause.
He's got some dramatic pauses.
So
he throws up. How long was the line?
There was no line. It was just me and my wife. And within 10 minutes, it was all the way around the block. And then he stands the door up, and it is the door to this restaurant. And it's in the basement of one of those old houses. And what was cool about it is you go in and sit down family style. So the two of us sat with 8 total strangers at a, round family like dining room table. And they say, they give you a brief history of the place. And then they say the blessing. And then all these little black women come out of the kitchen with bowls of food. And it never stops. It literally never stops. And I asked them, I'm like, why are you taking that bowl of chicken that's only half empty? There's like a dozen pieces of chicken left in that bowl. And she said, honey, I asked them if they were doing that to make sure it stays fresh. And she's like, no, it's all very fresh. She said, we take everything when it gets down to half a bowl because we make plates and feed the homeless. And I said, I'd like to see that. So they let me go through the kitchen, and I bet you there was 300 homeless people lined up in the alley waiting for the most delicious food you've ever eaten. Some of the best home-cooked food you've ever ate. And they feed them every day at 11 o'clock.
That's inspiring. Savannah's a unique place. It was
like $14 a head to eat there, but she said, they had it figured in to cover their cost, make their profit, and 50% of the food that they cooked, they could afford to give away. And apparently there was a Savannah police officer that showed up every day, to make sure there weren't any druggies or bad people hanging out there. But it was a lot of old people, because there's a lot of poverty around historic Savannah that you don't see on the tourist trips. It's literally just a block away. But I thought that was really cool, man. It made me feel good about. I love spending money with people who are doing kind things for people.
Savannah's kind of like a spooky place.
Yeah, it's one of the most haunted places in the South, allegedly.
You walk around there, you kind of can feel it. There's definitely some old souls in that area.
It's gorgeous, though. I like cool. Charleston better, but Savannah's cool.
I don't believe in ghosts.
Yeah. You believe in one ghost. Yeah.
But the Spanish moss in the trees, something about that's just got a vibe to it. Yeah. And Savannah and Charleston both share that.
Charleston's a little bougier than Savannah. I think the poverty neighborhoods are at least 3 or 4 blocks away in Charleston. Where in Savannah, they're literally on the backside of all the historic, beautiful stuff you see. Literally, the other side of that block is extreme poverty.
That's probably why I like Charleston better.
Probably. Yeah, because
So-
we had cops tell us while we were in Savannah, "Hey, y'all, the sun's about to go down. Y'all need to be out of here." What do you mean? They're like, "You don't need to be in this neighborhood or in this particular park after the sun goes down. Y'all need to make your way back to either back to the main town or back to your Airbnb."
So was
like
it
New
like
Orleans.
30 minutes outside of Savannah, or were you like in the suburbs, or how far?
We were in the heart of Savannah. Like, you can be standing in one of the squares with all the live oaks and the Spanish moss and the statues, and they'll tell you, "Hey, it's getting dark. Get out of here."
Yeah, the vampires are set to come out.
Right. It's about to turn into a completely different place. And I think
like-
they just have an understanding. The gangbangers stay away during the day, and then they own it at night. So
It's cooperation, kind of in a way.
Similar to New Orleans. New Orleans,
Yeah.
you get too far off of the beaten path and it gets crazy quick.
New Orleans is the same way. You can get a half a block off the beaten path.
You can turn into an alley.
Yeah.
I had a scary in New Orleans the one time I was there.
But you get that same feeling. It's just creepy.
Yeah.
It's got that. It does have that heavy, kind of voodoo-y, scary. Something's not right here, kind of feeling.
It is interesting how that one city
Much
park
bad
in
juju.
Savannah, where they used to do all the public hangings, and they used to talk about, how much blood was actually in the soil of that park, and the Spanish moss will not grow there. It's the only park there that the live oaks don't have any Spanish moss. Spanish moss won't even grow there. This place is so haunted, the Spanish moss won't grow here.
Did y'all see?
I don't necessarily believe in all that. I've seen things I can't explain, and I'm sure everybody has. But it is a spooky, because of what we were programmed to think is spooky. It is a spooky place.
So when I was about 12 or 13 years old, my parents moved from a place that was kind of closer to the city to a place that was further out in the country.
Yeah.
And there was a place called Penhurst, which was it's pretty famous now. It was a home for the feeble-minded, was the name of it at one time, and there was all kinds of names that we would consider derogatory now. But anyway, in the 60s, they did an expose on it. The news did an expose on it. It was terribly abusive. So, for instance, if you had a problem with biting, they would pull your teeth out. So, like,
Very radical.
It was abuse between the patients, abuse between the, I don't know if you call them guards or orderlies or whatever. Anyway, it was a messed up place. And they just shut it down at one point. But I was of the age of going into abandoned mental hospitals. That was the going into abandoned mental hospitals phase of my life. And man, we used to go down there. They had underground tunnels that linked these big institutional buildings together. Dude, that was terrifying. I don't believe in ghosts, but that place scared me. I don't know why. Because I thought there would be some, and I don't think I was wrong. Some alumni hanging out after they closed the place, but
yeah, I think there's something built into our DNA though that makes us universally spooked by certain things.
Irrational. It's our irrational thoughts.
It probably is.
Nah, look, there's a lot of people out there that do a lot of dark shit.
Yeah. I remember, Gary, I used to.
It don't matter if you believe it or not.
I got big into kind of rabbit hole, deep diving America's obsession with zombies. And I figured it out. The reason why we're so obsessed with zombies is because it's a fantasy we can have about killing human beings and not having to feel any remorse for it. So I understand why it exists, but I remember a guy I was having a conversation with, he asked me, he's like, he had asked me if I believed in God, and I was like, of course I do. And he's like, well, do you believe in zombies? And I was like, no, I don't. And he was like, well, it plainly states that when Jesus died on the cross, the dead rose and walked the earth. Is that not zombies? And I was like, all right, man, you win. I'm not going to have I'm not biblically educated enough to have that conversation. But yeah, that kind of sounds like zombies. But it is funny.
Zombies. So
it is funny how that part of the story has always been left out. You know, the crumbling of the crumbling of the churches.
And he froze.
He just gets real still, I think. Something
Gary, what you were saying though, Gary, is I think that's honestly part of the downfall of our countries when they started shutting down asylums. When you started having all those people free to go do whatever they want and act up, you look at the crime rates and it's amazing how they spike.
You know, it's a pendulum swing. You know, like for instance,
I don't know what
that place was. They had people that were probably autistic.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they handled everything right, but I'm saying
how. Well, let me get to the point here. But then people that were epileptic were put in there, and then people that were just badly behaved in school were put there. So, like anything, that institution and institutions in general were not doing well. But to your point, I don't know that the answer was simply closing them all down and they're saying good luck.
Right.
Yeah,
that was kind of what I was getting to. Not that everyone deserved to be there; they treated them fairly, but the fact that you go from having a ability to have people get help and keep them away from misbehaving in society to everyone's free, then it's kind of like,
yeah, there's a certain segment of the population that probably needs that institutionalization. That are just not going to be able to function even in a group setting. They probably would have a difficult time functioning.
I think unfortunately there's just no way that people can ever have a safe place. The government cannot guarantee a safe place for those people to be.
No, that's your job.
There's just always somebody looking to take advantage of those people. Anybody that's vulnerable like that.
Yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenging issue, but I think there is a movement back towards at least some institutionalization for folks that are like really profoundly troubled.
Yeah, I want them to be able to get rehabilitation and or treatment help if they need it, not just anyone who gets a random diagnose.
And
we've got a mental health hospital here in town, and I know several people that have been employed there, and they'll tell you the majority of the people checked in there are troubled youth that are acting out because their parents are addicts and they're not getting any kind of raising, and so of course they end up acting out and they end up institutionalized. I don't know what the answer is, man, but
yeah, my mom's a sign language interpreter. She works for deaf services, and even being deaf, people end up in places like that just because they're deaf.
Yeah, you could have ended up in Penhurst in Pennsylvania in the 50s. Yeah,
because they might have thought it wasn't just your ears that you couldn't communicate, that you were, back when I first got and started in the program and we started reading the big book, you realize that a lot of alcoholics, when they got to that point, they were sent away to the asylums.
Yeah. Since you're up in that area, have you ever looked into the relation between the witch trials and that corn fungus situation? Have you ever heard of that?
I went to school I went to college in Boston. Everybody liked to go up to Salem.
There's a movie called The Witch that a lot of people didn't understand, and I was one of them. It was a very artsy type film, and they never told you that But come to find out, it wasn't actually about this girl being a witch. It was about this time in history when there was this plague of this mold that was growing on corn when people stored it, and then when they ate it, it made them go crazy. So you watch this whole movie thinking, man, this is a really weird witch movie. It doesn't make, this goat's talking to her. It was just a weird witch movie, and then
he's thinking about flying monkeys.
They actually say that's where the whole idea of werewolves came from, somewhere in Europe, like that, like because their grain was poisoned.
What we should do here is every time he freezes is finish his sentences for him.
Like Mad Lib still in the blank.
I've got great internet. I don't know what to do.
It's funny.
But yeah, apparently a lot of people accused of being witches when they were actually just hallucinating because of this corn mold or fungus. I don't remember which it was. But there's history on it. You can read all about this corn thing.
So I just think one of the places I was going with this whole Ben Franklin thing was he has a quote that I have on my knife show banner. And his quote is, "There was never a good knife made of bad steel." And so that's sort of kind of a catchphrase that I put on my knife show banner. And everybody always asks me, did Ben Franklin really say that? Yes, he did.
So do you have it in quotes?
I do.
I was glitching. I didn't hear what you said. What was the quote?
The quote is, "There never was a good knife made of bad steel."
All the way back then.
That was a Ben Franklin.
That was a Ben Franklin quote.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Shane, did you eat to tell John about last night's stream?
Last night's stream.
And Bob's.
I mentioned it. I mentioned it when I got on here about how productive that was. And tonight was equally productive when Bees revealed his knife. And
I've got to go back and watch that.
And he was bragging on your edge too, Kyle.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Bees is a good guy. I've never had a crossword with Bees.
I did get a message today, Shane, from Scooter. He got his and loved it.
I know that irritates you, doesn't it?
No.
Gary, I went to acid wash this Soviet scooter guy they're talking about. I went to acid wash his blade, and being still new to knife making, I had acid washed a piece of crewware and forgot about it. I left it in the acid like 4 hours. Took it out, cleaned it up. Was too afraid to use it. But the point was I kept the acid. A couple months later, I go back to acid wash this piece of Pro Cut. And when it came out of the acid wash, the spine of the knife had a burnt bronze tone. And it had what looked like these underwater amoebas all in the steel. And I was like, what in the world? Come to find out, I guess I had contaminated the acid because I let that piece of crewware break down too much. And I was freaking out over it. And I sent the guy a picture of it to show him why it was going to be a little longer before he got his knife because I was going to have to redo it. And he was like, I absolutely love that. Don't touch it. And it was only in there a couple of minutes. But I guess leaving that piece of crewware in the acid went bad on me. I don't know. I disposed of it anyway. But Kyle, when Kyle got the knife to sharpen it, he wouldn't even show it on camera. He hated it so much because he wanted to sand all that off. But
the owner thought it was ugly too.
This is the best Mad Libs ever. Look at his face.
That's funny stuff.
We didn't get that part, Shane.
The owner loved it. He said it looked rustic. It looked like something his grandpa would have handed down to him.
And Kyle, did it change the properties of the steel when you were sharpening it, or do you think the steel's still just as good?
No, it was fine. It just was aesthetics, and I didn't care for it because it looked like paisleys, like an old fashioned velvet paisley print.
Terry, which one are you talking about, buddy?
Just make a sheath.
There's no paisley in your wardrobe, Kyle.
No.
Yeah.
Don't ask you wash
Terry,
blades,
you just
Shane.
make a sheath for that. Yeah. I can acid wash them.
I'm not an acid wash, stone wash, whatever wash. I'm a sucker for shiny things, so I just like I like machine steel. I like the way that looks. So
I like these polished, stone washed knives.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, Gary's are.
And
I call them
XHP.
satin. Would you call them satin, Gary?
satin machine finished. I do like mirror polish. What I really like is mirror polish against satin. So like some of it's mirror polish, some of it's satin.
I like a good hand rub satin. I'm not as.
I was going to say that's what she said, but I won't say that.
That's why I continue to say satin afterwards. But the in compared to like the belt finish,
it does look different. It makes a huge difference. The belt from a hand satin to a belt satin.
Right. I liked it too, Terry. That's all that matters. You liked it, and the purchaser liked it. It don't matter what color.
Generally speaking, I mean, this isn't always the case, but a hand satin will usually go the length of the blade.
Correct.
And a machine satin will usually go perpendicular to the blade.
Right.
Not always.
No. Depends on which direction you go with grits. I've done some hand satins, and it depends on which way you want to go, but I like the horizontal hand satins.
Knife just feels great when it's crowned and stone wash polished.
Well, Bugsy, I apologize. I started crowning my kitchen knives too.
No, that's all good.
This latest batch, I did a full crown spine.
Thanks, Terry.
So these are interesting little technos because I have one in S30V and one in XHP.
Oh, okay.
Which one do you like better, the XHP, or can you tell a difference?
The S30 is a little more rust resistant, so I lean that way just because everything's rusting on me when I'm out at work.
Right.
But the XHP, it feel like when it's cutting, it feels like it's cutting easier. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Gary, there's a finish that Brian Kim does. I don't know if you've seen it or not. It's pretty impressive. He does a full-on mirror polish, and then he goes back with a centrifugal tumbler and does a wash over top of it. It's really, really neat looking.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm talking about.
I've only owned one piece of XHP, and I think Richard Hopkins owns it. Wasn't it Richard Hopkins that got my Para 3 and XHP?
Yeah.
Isn't that right? Yeah.
I think so.
I've got some XHP coming as soon as I can make enough money to pay for it. But Bugsy, I've got a Strider SNG coming in XHP.
Kyle, tell me which one to click on to what you're talking about.
It's nothing new on there. It's been a while back.
Oh, it's been a while back. I'm sorry. So it's probably not going to be in here?
It's probably on his website, honestly.
If you want to check something out, check out CMF Metalworks.
That guy's my hero.
Who's that, Brian?
Yeah, Brian Kim's my knife making hero.
I'll get it.
Spirit animal.
So the custom knife making world back in the earlier days of it, say prior to the 80s ish, mirror polish was how they were done. Right. That was the expectation. Yep. And a lot of times guys would overdo it. So the knife looked like it was half melted. You know, everything, like none of the lines were crisp. And so if you see a lot of custom knives, especially from not so great makers back in that time, they look really terrible. But yeah, and it's hard to do to mirror polish. You know, you got to go up to maybe, and there's different grades of mirror polish. You know, mirror polish isn't mirror polish, but like for a good one, you know, you got to go up to like 2,000 grit, maybe 4,000 grit, and get all the previous scratches out up to there, and then get on your buffer, and then maybe go a couple compounds different compounds on your buffer to get a deep mirror. And then, like, if you want to make satin flats, you know, now you got to go back to your sandpaper, you know, maybe like a 400 or an 800, and pull like really carefully to get that. And if you just twitch any which little way and you touch your mirror, back to the drawing board.
Back to the next up grid, I would guess.
I did a two-tone like that on a Vox Naze, and I did the satin flats, but I did acid wash everywhere else, and it had a swedge too.
Grid, I would guess.
So
I'm not capable of doing a polish like that. My hands just aren't steady enough.
It also depends on the steel. Like trying to do that on S90V, or you're trying to do that on AEBL. So that's, you want to know when you can tell the difference between steels. That's when you can tell the difference between steels.
Oh, I bet.
I was very impressed to see that Spyderco did that stone wash on the Maximet, even on the natives.
Yeah.
Now
that was a really nice stone wash on there. And
there are some industrial processes. I live near a facility that does some of this, where they can chemically go in, especially on non-stainlesses, and get some really cool finishes. I bet you could take hardened Maximet and mirror polish it with a stone washing type of. It's like it non-cool finish. Yeah, it like acid away and polishes. It's really cool. Like they'll do it for like car parts, like cast car parts and stuff like that. But it's hard to do. They can't do it on stainless very well. But something like Maximet, they could probably do it.
Well, I know like what Brian's doing. He does the Zerb wash, which is Zerblast with the special tumble he does afterwards, and it comes out like a frosted satin, and it looks really good as well too. But yeah, I hand sanded that.
God, I don't mean to
Shane.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I want to jump off here so I can hear, because I can't. It just keeps glitching. I can't hear anything y'all are saying, and I'd really like to hear the conversation. So I'll be in the chat. Love y'all.
Love you, brother.
Later.
Later, Shane.
Shane did a kitchen knife for my mom that I ended up doing a hand satin on, and it was 65 HRC S90, and he had sent it to me. And Gary, you're gonna kick out of this. He because it was a project that got pushed back long ago because it was just whatever. And so it got left at like, I think 36 or 60 grit. And I took that all the way up. I took that to a hand satin 800 grit.
See,
how many weeks?
At 36 grit, I'd go 60 grit ceramic. Then I'd do like 120 ceramic. Then I would go to like at least a 220 or 260 and then start.
You know what? I ended up, well, I didn't have a grinder at the time. So I went 60, 120, 180, 220, 320, I think 400, 600, 800. And that thing, it's only a 3-inch blade, and it still took me almost 9 hours worth of work.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And bruised fingers from pushing so hard.
Yeah, man.
Now there is. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There is something that speeds that up a good bit, which is they're made for polishing dyes and cleaning up dyes.
The molds, the dye polishers, the like ultrasonic ones, and
those will really speed that up. But S90V. There's a lot of vanadium carbide in there, so I don't know how well they'll work.
Well, that's actually because before Brian was doing everything by hand as well too, and then it's not worth the process, the time it takes to do it. I mean, I think he was charging $200 or $225 for a mirror polish blade, and that's way too much work for that. And but he went he's got one of those air profilers and using the stones with it, and was able to get a much better, much quicker, but still a couple hour process between that and buffing and everything else. But I just don't have an air compressor big enough to do that. Otherwise, I would have probably bought one of those by now.
Hey, Kyle, have you ever heard of double vapor blasting or double vapor wash? Like like Marathon uses on their hardware, on their stainless hardware that makes it look kind of tannish.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's different types of like vapor blasting is like what PVD is based off of, which is DLC in another nutshell. But yeah, they make it sound like it's something like ultra rare and special, but it's a pretty simple process.
I'm trying to think, and I'm pulling it up because it was it makes the hardware look extremely different. Here's a picture of it. And I thought it was almost looked anodized. So my question is, what is that process? See how the hardware is kind of brown?
Yeah, on that one.
So what they call that?
It's got flamed accents. So those are double vapor is basically
that's what that's called. The hardware stainless double vapor blast.
All right. So the vapor makes it kind of like a shiny, hazy finish to it. And then they're flaming it afterwards to make it the bronze.
Ah. So that's part of the double?
No.
Okay. So, because they don't say anything about flame. Now, they do say that the backspacers got the flamed accent, which it does. You can tell the backspacer's flamed. But the hardware, they just say it's bronze double vapor blast.
Okay, so then they double vapor blast it, then ano it. That's all it is. Yeah.
I got you. And I'm surprised to see that one be 550 and have that frag pattern, because that's the same frag pattern that the aluminum one that's 308 has. I thought they all had the milled pattern.
You know what's interesting about these Microtechs? Microtech charges more for aluminum than they do G10.
Yep.
G10's way harder to machine than
work
aluminum.
with. Is it?
Yeah.
I don't work with G10 at all, but I work with a lot of different grades of aluminum, and it can be a bitch to drill.
It machines really nicely. It's like the easiest thing to machine. G10 has glass in it, and it eats through your cutters.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
When I bought my stitch, if I'm not mistaken, the G10 stitch and the aluminum stitch were within $4. One was 302 and one was 308. The aluminum was a little bit more expensive, but they were right there the same price. I know that because my buddy A to Z ordered one the same time I did, and he put the wrong one in the cart, and his was G10, and our prices were identical, almost off like $4.
Javon, think of that double vapor blast as it's the same as them saying M390 MK. It's a marketing
term.
Yes. Yes, they may do a double vapor blast, but it doesn't mean anything special. It's
what's making it special is the anoing that they're not calling out that's making the color change.
Vapor blast is another form of a blast. It's done with air and water versus sand or zirconium or whatever your media you're using, shell, just a different way to blast stuff.
We've traded for two knives that I don't see very often, and we've traded for two in the last 2 weeks. The little Strider Plus, which is the little small guy. Have y'all seen those little mini Striders?
Yeah.
We got one of those that was double tie raw and one that was double tie blue ano. And the one that was blue ano had the PDO1 blade steel. But those little things are expensive.
Gary, I'm going to try to find a photo of his zirconium blast that he does, which is...
I saw a tab on his website that said that, but I didn't know what I was looking for.
Yeah, I've got to get a better picture than on his site, so let me try to grab it for you. Because I did one, well, when he first came out with that Zerwash, I did all of the sharpenings for those customers. He was doing in batches, and I was doing the sharpening for him. And a couple of community members had them done. So let's see if I can find that picture real quick.
Yeah, Brian, have you heard of Brian Kim, Transparent Knives? Gary, does that type of work, mod work? And he's starting to make knives now.
I was never much into modding. I was more into getting the next new knife.
I got you.
30 minutes to said faction.
I got you. What's
All right,
that, man?
That's the finish on.
So that's that kind of white color on the flat, on the hollow grind?
Yeah, on the entire blade minus the sharpened bevel.
Yeah.
That's the Zerb wash.
Is that an Umnenzam?
Yeah.
That's pretty.
I got another one.
I bought Tim's balls. It's the only knife worth getting.
Hi, Maddie.
Maddie, what's up? Maddie and I have matching bug outs, by the way. With Met and Boss scales.
Nice. Yeah, that's what's on this PM2 also.
Yeah,
that's where I got my little.
There's
yeah.
You know, the whole modding thing.
Nice.
And there's just so many corners of the knife market, and modding is one of those corners, you know. It's
absolutely. Was that handle originally black, Kyle, or was that done too?
It's shadow.
Oh, okay.
It's standard color, but the shadow off of the reflection made it look darker.
There's some more Met and Boss scales.
What's that?
These are more scales from Met and Boss.
Those are topos, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell if those were Lynch's. Those are nice. Those are newer ones, aren't they? Newer Met and Boss?
These got to be a few years old now.
Okay.
Kind of pissed off. I scratched them somehow.
I scratch all of my scales. My bougiest knife is the hardest to handle because I wasn't thinking when I got the scales. The scales are smooth tie. But this clip is one of Lynch's 2-piece Spyderco clips. I don't know if you can see that, but it has a little base that you mount onto it, and then you mount the clip to the base. But this is my Jimbo, and it's got purple hardware and this Flame Dano tie handles, but they're smooth and they're pretty slick.
Well, there's a close-up on the clip if you want to see it.
Oh, let me make you big.
2-part clip.
Oh, is that a link? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same clip you got. I was just showing you.
Yeah, but it's a different style. That's what I was saying. Mine's got a little opening in it.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's very cool.
They're super nice.
It's super deep carry.
Yeah.
And they retain very well too.
You guys like that, the lock on that Mannix, man?
I personally love it. Once you modify it to a lighter spring.
Every time I bring that thing out of the field, I get something jammed in there, and that knife becomes freaking useless.
How old is your Mannix?
I don't have one anymore.
How old was that? Was it an older one?
I'm probably within 10 years.
So the newer Mannixes, I have a new Mannix, and I have an older Mannix, and it is night and day. It is night and day. They went from a metal ball in there to a ceramic one, and it really makes a big difference. Like I have, it's a cool knife. It's actually like an S90V Tom Crine regrind Mannix from 8 years ago or something. It's a cool knife, but it's really sticky to open and close. Like it takes a lot of pressure, and it's very gritty. And the newer ones, I think they changed the tolerances, and with the different ball. If you get a chance to handle a new one at some point, I'd encourage you to do so. they function a lot better now. It's
Yeah,
not my favorite mechanism they make, but
I can use a Manix XL, but I find the motion, that pinch pull motion on the regular Manix, just doesn't work when I'm trying to make sure I can, because I can't, like, I'm in a position all the time where I absolutely cannot drop something. So when I'm manipulating the knife in my hand, my favorite lock is something that's in here. So I don't have to do this kind of thing.
And maybe
leave,
drop it 300 feet or however high.
and then leave all this exposed to potentially me dropping it or bumping it onto something, and I have nothing underneath. So like especially the Manix, you have to move your hand in such a way and then pull it back.
Bugsy, this is gonna sound weird.
Especially when they're new. You gotta use both sides.
I'm not trying to sound funny with us, Bugsy, but have you ever thought about like using the lanyard tube and doing like a wristlet with it so it wraps around your wrist, so then you can it won't drop?
I mean, I have to have a lot of my stuff on lanyards. Every individual tool has to have its own lanyard. That has to be tethered to my climbing gear.
That's kind of what I was getting at. So if you had an actual like a bracelet, but it would go through the lanyard hole, so that way when you're done with your knife, you could put it back, have some slack. But if it actually were to drop, it's not going to completely fall.
Yeah, I mean, since I already have the lanyards that I have, and they have to fit on, that's why I use that shaman that I use. It's perfect for the way I have it set up. But I don't like, even though I know I have a lanyard on something, I will not drop things. You know what I mean? And especially when you're not like looking at something, your hands are wet with gloves. It's just
better safe than sorry. Go with something.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of a way to be able to hang on to it for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I just use specific knives, because I know I can, like with the shaman, I can keep my full hand on there and reach up and just touch that lock and let the blade fall. And then I actually close the blade by pushing it against my leg, so I know that it closes. And I like that there's the nub in the shaman that comes up where the lock is. You can feel it on your
finger.
Because now I know that blade is fully seated and I don't have to look at it.
Okay.
So I've really liked the access locks for the one-handed operation that's easy to manipulate, because for me, like, I have it in my palm, and so when I pull down, I'm pushing into my palm, so it's actually more secure, when I'm opening it. And then when I close it, same deal, and they just gravity shut. And I like the hole too, so like if I'm not in a spot where I want to have to flick my wrist because I got something else in there, yeah, there's something to be said for ease of opening and closing.
And you know what else too? Whenever I'm in the ice and I'm getting poured on and everything is just, the ice is building up, that lock mechanism fails a lot.
Oh,
and if I'm ever using that where I'm cutting something dirty, I'm down and I'm cutting and I got dirt and sticks and twigs and all kinds of mud and sand in there, that lock is for shit.
I could see that. Yeah.
Opening and closing, because sometimes the knife is closed and you can get stuff jammed in there and you can't even open it.
Because the water froze around the spring?
Either water or the mud froze up in there, or concrete. There's a million different things that I
can see how compression lock would be a lot more durable in really heavy, dirty situations.
Yeah, because I can get in there and clean that out too with a flathead.
But it shouldn't get so bad you can't open it. Like there's very little area for things to get stuck on that particular. It can get gritty and yucky, but it should still function.
Yeah, no, compression. I've had the issues with the ball locks, and the access locks, along with the Omega Springs break-in and all the other BS.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. Lakeside, it sounds like just perfect candidate for fixed blade.
Yep, yeah, fixed blades, or honestly, the Manix backlock I was a big fan of that. Because you can do the whole let it touch your finger.
And then use your leg.
And then either leg or thumb. And it's, my hand never has to really leave the fully closed position. And I can function it and I can not have to look at it.
It's amazing when you're opening cat food that you don't have to think about that much stuff. Am I going to pull cut this? Yeah, I think I'm such a wuss.
I got to get you a samurai sword for that test.
That is a particular, use case that isn't everybody, but I could see how when things are dirty like that. Is the compression lock patented, and is that about to run out?
It already has.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's got to be run out by now.
Yeah,
good. I can maybe use that lock.
Yeah, that's how people started doing the whole new top liner lock thing. That's how that came to be.
Like this right here. That's the top liner lock like the Smock has.
Or the Vosteed.
Well, this is a little Kizer microbe. It's a weird little knife. Little fifth pocket knife, but it uses that top liner lock that has the button like the Smock, where you don't have to get it with the liner. You just push that button and it pushes the liner out of the way. But it's not a plunge lock.
Now, if you're going to do a compression lock, that means that your inner frame of the knife needs to be something that is a hardenable steel.
That's a good question.
At least
Kyle, what does Spyderco use? Do you know?
It's probably just a stainless, right? It's just...
I don't.
An LC 200N.
It's got to be an Austin. It's got to be a hardenable steel that can get a spring temper.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be anything great though. It could be 420. I mean, it's.
I was gonna say I know a lot of guys who are doing liner locks on at custom makers that were just doing it out of the same. If they're doing like RWL 34, they do the same thing. They would just make it.
You can. That's expensive.
And then
get a ton of benefit out of it, but there's also something to be said. That they're both going to wear about the same. And
if they're doing them for jeweling or polishing for custom makers, that makes a big difference using something that's easy to work with like that. So I think that you could pretty much do like you said, pretty much any stainless that's treatable, because you do have to have that tension.
I gotta take some of my PMs apart. See what makes them tick.
The compression lock I never had a problem with, but one of the things that Justin OCD for EDC came up with that I think is a pretty amazing little invention is he did a thing called a CME, a compression made easy. Have you ever seen that little nub that he made for left-handers that actually goes? It's a little 3D printed piece or a little titanium piece that goes right inside here and pushes up against the liner, and he super glues it in. And then it's just got a button right here instead of having to pinch the knife.
Hello, Paul Mills.
Tell you that, yeah, some guys do liners and tie, but the only issue then is you got, if it's depending upon how it's set up to be, then you got tie on a steel blade.
Yeah, you'd have to. Well, you can carburize that.
Yeah, I mean that can work, but that's just one extra step in that process.
Yeah, they just make those stainless liners now, right? Like Spyderco does.
A lot of them do, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that steel's so thin, it might be hard to get an accurate hardness test on it.
They're usually 0.07, roughly. 0.0, somewhere in that range is where a lot of those guys are doing liners at.
That's not too thin. I mean, 70 thousandths.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that. There's a stainless liner on the titanium frame.
Let me keep big. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see that.
And that's a little beefier one.
This was a great knife. The Domino.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Great knife. I love this knife. It's like super fidgety, too.
They were expensive back in the day.
Yeah, this one's in 204p. I don't know anything about 204p.
It's 20 CB or M390.
Yeah.
It's the same difference, or is it like it's just different from a company?
It's Carpenter.
Yeah. So
that's
wait, I got a question for you, Gary. I was thinking about this the other night. What is a steel that you can think of that's going to be impossible to find, but should be cool for like a collector to get his hands on?
15D.
That's going to in the future or right now?
Well, yeah, because what's the company that went out of business recently?
Crucible.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry. Since they're going out of business, there's going to have to be some stuff that's, not going to make the cut when everybody starts, or somebody maybe someday starts making the stuff again.
I like Rex 121, 15V, S125V. Maybe some of those other Rex grades. I don't know about Rex 76. But like steels that are kind of hard to come by now, although I know of some new becoming available, like BG42. Some of the older Van X's, there were various forms of Van X before the final one that they have now. They can be hard to get. It seems like the collector market isn't always super steel driven. It wasn't always super steel driven. I don't know that 20 CV will be, as available anymore. Yeah, it's just hard to say. Yeah, it's hard to say, but BG42 is a cool steel, and I know where I can get a little bit of it, so I might run some blades in it. It's like a nicer version of 154 CM.
All right.
But it was invented by what's that company? Latrobe in Pennsylvania.
Is it a high tool steel? What kind of steel is it?
It's like 154 CM.
Okay, so when you say it's like on steroids, just has better properties?
Slightly better properties. Guys really loved it. I have a Spyderco military in BG42.
Okay.
An older one. It just was a nice steel. It wasn't super popular. It was popular with a lot of custom makers, especially the guys that like to make Loveless style blades.
Fascinating.
That's what I tried to explain to you a long time ago, John. A lot of the custom makers aren't picking super steels because if they're making art type knives, they want high polish, high shine. They want a steel that's going to be easy to work with. That's why they use the RW34s, the 154 CMs, those type of steels that will polish easy and can get to where they're trying to make the most money without being difficult.
Right. From a aesthetic, more than anything else, is what they're after. They're chasing on that quest.
Yeah, but a lot of those custom makers, when RW34 came out, it was the latest and greatest thing, and that was what they were using. But then they continued to use that even as technology progressed because it was easier for them to work.
Gotcha.
So
it's all fascinating to me.
Gary, I don't buy sheets, obviously, but I look at, smaller, bar stock and smaller amounts. And I've seen a lot of stuff been kind of hit and miss lately. LMAX, Van X, they're both been gone. S90s have been pretty popular as far as it being available. S60 has been available.
X60 was an old grade that went away for decades. And then
I'm sorry, S60.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I've never heard of S60. I've heard of S30 and S90, and it makes sense that X60 is in the middle. But has any knives been made of that I would be aware of, Kyle?
I think Steve just made some of those.
Yeah, customs. S60 and S90 have been around for a long time, but they were under a different name. They were 420 and 440 VN, I believe, is what they were back in the 80s. And then they got rebranded as S60 and S90.
S90 is a really good steel.
Yep.
It's not super tough, but it's not terrible. But it has really good edge retention.
Yep.
And it's relatively affordable at the moment because Niagara has stock of old CPM S90 for a while, and so it's at a bit of a lower price
All right.
than some others.
The one issue though is with what they're doing with S90 in production, at least, is the same thing that China did with D2. They kind of ruined it, and they're not putting out very good S90 out of China.
Yeah, I don't know if they're just not heat treating it high or what. We'll look at the data sheet here and see how hard it goes.
I do know I'm shady.
If you want performance based, 63 to 65 is ideal, and most people are running it at. Well, China was running it at 58 to 60, then they went up to 59 to 61.
I'm looking for Crucible's actual data sheet here.
What would you call that? The might, the mighty might.
I'm pretty sure that Crucible and Laren had it at 63 to 64. Before you started seeing a huge drop off, I should say.
Yeah, there you go. I was trying to find that.
I like that little knife.
It's a nice little knife.
Yeah, it used to be called 420V.
Yeah. I said V and I meant V. Sorry.
They should have left it 420V.
Well.
And they should have only sold it on the proper date.
The fact that they could take the 420V and 440V and switch it to a new moniker to get away from the 420C and all that kind of stuff was a marketing thing for them.
Perception, yeah. That makes sense, I guess. What did I see today that I was going to tell you all about? Can't remember what it was.
If you need something to look at, Javon, check out CMF Metalworks.
That's right.
I'm familiar with those guys.
I was helping Ian grind out some
I'm online, buddy.
Some liners and mammoth today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's setting up for a show he's doing down in the hell was it? I think Louisiana somewhere. He's setting up to do a show down there. But he's not going to the Lehigh show. And he lives right there in PA.
He makes some cool shit.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, he'll make that knife. He'll get an idea in his head. He'll make that knife from beginning to end in a day or two.
What?
I'm telling you, the guy he's something special.
You know who else is up kind of near you, Bugsy? I think he's, I want to say Jersey or New York. SDK.
SDK.
Steve Dumchus.
I don't know if I know his knives.
He's got a similar design language. He does a lot of high-end customs.
These knives, they function so well too. The flipper is almost unnoticeable, like it's so small, but it flips without an issue.
I think Patina Turner's got a CMF.
I had one before. I had to sell it just because I needed the money, but
that's a beautiful, beautiful piece. Looks like you got more stuff on the gram. Or did that take y'all with me to the gram? No.
He's got so much more stuff than this too. Just like he'll just come up with a new design, Monday morning, and by Wednesday he's handing you a brand new, completed knife.
I mean, his skill level looks off the chain. What is going on there? Is that like a Winter Blade Co? What's on the bottom side of that knife? On the backspacer side.
I think it's just like a fancy backspacer on that one.
And how long's this guy been making knives?
I'm not actually sure, but probably 10 years now.
Or 10 years?
If not more than that. You see that those pieces of mammoth on the top left there? That's what we were grinding those out today.
Top left. I'm on the right picture?
Go up, scroll up a little, go back to the one with multiple pictures.
Right there?
Yep, that's them.
That is beautiful. Are those handles?
Yeah. We were grinding those ones, and he's got other ones that have some kind of natural blue tint in them. And he's gonna do he's gonna match it with some crazy. You got to see the materials he's using.
So Bugsy, and I know this is going to be a lot less, but what does he start at? I mean, what's the price range? And I'm sure with mammoths and stuff like that looks next level.
I think you're looking at anywhere from 800 and north.
I got you. Look at the hawk bill on this knife. I saw it earlier. That's superconductor.
Yeah, I wish I could get him onto one of these live chats, man. He's such an interesting person. He's a big teddy bear. He's a big giant guy, like real tall guy. He's a big teddy bear. Real soft-hearted guy.
What are his books like right now?
He's one of those, like I said, he's one of those guys you can call him, give him an idea, tell him what you want, and you'll see that knife in a week.
Well, I'm just thinking of Ryan. Ryan's a good chance he might.
Yeah, Ryan's perfect for him.
And where are you guys geographically?
He's in Pennsylvania, probably like an hour from Jersey.
Okay.
What's his name again?
Ian.
And I know him. Yeah, I know him. Yeah. What it's STL not? What is it? STL knives?
CMF.
Cool motherfucker.
Ian Alexander Pikarsky. Here's his logo. Hold on.
Yeah, show him some love, man. He's one of those guys that he doesn't want to be known, really. I was talking to him today about trying to get him on one of these, and he's like, I don't like the way my voice sounds on video.
Yeah, but and there's so many guys like that if just the right people see him, and like you say, maybe he's got all the work he can handle right now.
He's not hurting for work, but he's just a cool cat. Like I'd like to have people get to know him a little bit.
Well, he's welcome to join us if he ever wants to hang out, and he doesn't have to. He can always has a camera on his table like Jason Grant does when he joins us. Yeah, that's his name right there, Gary.
Okay. I don't know if I've met him yet. I don't know if he comes to the Lehigh show or not. He's got a Martin guitar shirt, so can't be all bad.
No, he's
All right, guys. Maddie's getting ready to start. I'm gonna take off.
See ya.
All right, buddy. We're gonna be out of here in just a second. Thanks, Kyle. Todd, are you talking about the cat ads?
He calls that the doodad. That thing is cool. It's a pry bar, but it has a blade that slides out of it.
I saw that.
This guy right here. Hold on.
The new fixed blade, Sierra asked, is the medium. Unless I change my mind.
I like that name. You want to show it again, Gary, before we break out? Do you have it still close? I'll make you big. Hold on. I think that shape's just outstanding.
It's very comfy.
And you said your first run when you do it, you haven't thought about the steel yet, or?
I have a couple cut out in 3V that are just sort of prototypes, but I did not cut, but I may cut a few out in real thin Magnamax. I bought 3 sheets of Magnamax last week, probably since we talked.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been doing chef's knives and omnivores, which are my cooking knives. Did a few paring knives. I did some knife, one design that my friend does. It's a small one that I could fit in between. And yeah, whatever suits my fancy. But I'm doing the chef's knives mainly. Like my 8-inch chef's knife, it just takes up so much steel. I could probably make like 10 minnows out of it, for the steel that it uses.
And you look at the return. Yeah.
And yeah, so I sell it for, I'm probably going to sell that for $6.75, which sounds like a lot, but that's only like 4 minnows,
Yeah,
so
exactly. And you add those up and there you are.
The steel, but I don't make minnows. This is 85 thousandths. When it's finished, it'll probably be somewhere around 75.
What's up, Cliff?
What's up, Cliff? All right, guys. Well, we're getting ready to head over to Said Faction. We're just the warm-up show for that late night live.
Now that's really late.
They are late,
Who's
but
all
they're
over
East,
there?
they're West Coast. They're West Coast. But Gary, I'm going to Shane's. Put your money where your mouth is, Playboy. Hey, get Gary on a knife podcast, and then maybe he'll sell you a piece.
Well, I may have. I mean, if your little pokey knife, I could maybe cut one of those out. Send me a CAD file. I don't really have pieces or bars
because you nest everything, right?
What's that?
You nest all your stuff together.
Yeah, I nest it super tight. Yeah. I should.
Hey, Javon, where's everybody heading right now after this?
Said Faction. Let me drop the link. Hold on a second before we go. And then Gary, I'm going to be in touch with you. I'm going to send you some stuff over probably Sunday to look at. I've found some cool stuff that I think you'll find interesting. Nothing that's necessarily actionable, but just interesting when you look at your traffic. Your site does well.
It's weird. Like I didn't sell a lot of knives for about a week there, and then the past like 2-3 days, I sold like seven knives or something, 8 knives. It's not super consistent. Although today is Friday, so everybody feels like they got money because they got paid.
And we see it at the knife store too. Fridays are the busy day.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find y'all a link.
I get paid on Thursdays, but it didn't help. It just kept the lights going.
Yeah, that's so funny. That money doesn't have a home. And me, I'm not even, I went from full-time corporate upper level management to full-time YouTube, part-time in a knife store. So my lifestyle changed radically. Here's the link, kids. That's where Said Faction is going to be live. Gary, you got anything to add before we go?
I don't think so.
And you're going to, you'll announce what's going on with the medium kind of through your Instagram. That's kind of where you put your information out before the website, right?
Instagram, Facebook. Yeah. I don't, people aren't at my website all the time. So like a lot of people are on Instagram, although Instagram and Facebook, they make it harder and harder for knives, but
they're finding a new way to make it harder every day. It seems like.
Yeah.
A couple of people that I kind of know got shut down their Instagrams out of the blue.
I mean, I have like 14,000 followers. I would not like it if that went away.
No, and nor should it. But that's a great way for you to reach those people too. And even though Instagram throttles you, they need you there too. I mean, for the content. And we're not promoting weapons. I mean, I see a lot worse out there. I mean, you can get sex at every turn. They don't care.
Crazy thing with me is, I working with John Gray, he's very much like this tactical and everything's about, different ways to stab people and get through detectors. But, for me, like I literally want cutting tools. That's what I want. I want functional cutting tools to cut stuff. And I don't have a lot of interest in tactical whatever. That just doesn't interest me. I know it was a thing 20, 30 years ago. That was the whole knife world was, everything was tactical. Again, just another corner of the knife world.
Yeah, and then you got the site that I've been opened up to, the Bally Song people. Holy smokes.
The Bally Boys.
That's a different generation. But, what I've learned is just because it's not for me doesn't mean it's, good or bad. It's just
right. Exactly. And
not my thing, but good for them. They're going to be, helping the shows be viable for the future.
And I'll probably won't go to Bally Songs, but I'm one that's the perfect proof for didn't ever look at fixed blades. Now I'm primarily fixed blades. Swore I'd never own a slip joint. Now I like slip joints. That you got to kind of keep an open mind as you go down this knife hike and you find different trails that attract you. So,
well, I remember seeing the slip joint guys at the knife shows and thinking, why do they even care about those stupid things? It's just totally like, how dumb is that?
That's so old. That's like caveman stuff.
And then I started to get into them a little bit and understand them a little bit. It's a totally different thing, but I still don't carry them much, but I appreciate them. And I have quite a few and I buy them on occasion now. And right. I get it. I get why these guys like them. And a lot of those guys don't use them either.
No,
they like case. It's all about never sharpening it and keeping
wrap it up and let your widow sell it when you die with about 500 others.
Yeah. So
occasionally you got somebody like me that keeps one from when they're a Cub Scout.
Oh, dude, that's a lifer.
Is that a Victorinox? Was that a Victorinox?
I believe it's
Wenger.
Oh, no, hold on. It says on here. I just can't read it. Sorry.
The suspense is killing me.
Camillus.
Oh, Camillus.
Yep. It says Camillus or Camillus, New York, right on that thing.
Yeah.
They made the GI knives, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, they're long since out of business. So,
yeah, that's
the factory that made that's an abandoned factory now. So, it's Camillus cool. Makes. Yeah, they may find their slip joints. This guy was Camillus.
Little collector's piece. Nice.
Quartermaster.
I think I remember.
Oh, no, it's not Camillus. This is Cataringus or whatever it is.
A quartermaster. It sounds familiar, though.
They may have made. This is a World War II era. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Cool piece.
Richard, who are you trying to get? Whose channel are you trying to get before we go? And don't forget, tomorrow night, the Guardians of the Blade. I'm going to throw that in one more time, this live stream. And then we're heading to Said Stevie. Guys,
I got nothing on here yet for Said Stevie.
What's that?
I don't see any videos yet for him tonight.
Has it not gone live? I put the link in. Let me see.
They're just starting now.
Yeah, they're just going live. Let me drop the link.
Yeah, I know Camillus is still in business, but it's not.
But they're not making the same. Yeah.
The Ghost Company. It's like Westinghouse.
Yeah, or like Bushmaster or any of the rifle companies that are awesome conglomerate now.
There we go. Uh-oh. Let's do this. Let's do a little quick screen snipe, and I'm going to drop the link. Guys, y'all, let me get my link. Dang it.
Thanks for letting me crash, Javon, man. I have a lot of
fun. Hey, buddy, anytime. I'll see you over at Said Stevie's. And guys, do me a favor. Look out for the guy or gal to your left. Look out for the guy or gal to your right. Uh-oh. Dylan, Mallory, Sharif, Stevie. Here you go. I'm going to drop the link. That should take you right there. And guys, I appreciate it. I will put up a link for the member giveaway on Sunday. Look out for the guy or gal to your left. Look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart and always choose debate, not hate. I love you guys.
Don't forget to hit me up, Javon.
I will. I'll hit you up, and I'm going to also hit up Gary. Peace, guys.